all, baby. We've been here too long. We know how to fight with these motherfuckers. And we're going to keep fighting. But they're going to bump you off. See, they bump us off, they're going to bump you guys off too. See, they don't want you here. They'll use you to get what they want. Same thing they did with us. That's what slavery was all about. Slavery was about bringing black skinned people in this nation to work for free. And for them to make money off of us. Same thing they're going to do to you goddamn brown immigrants. And you Asians or whatever. That's right. Folks don't love you. White supremacy don't love dark-skinned, melanated people of any kind. Okay? I'm going to lay my plane right there, family. I just had to say that. Hey, Black, can you do me a favor? Can you put my pinned tweet in the Jumbotron from Black American Homeland?
Absolutely. I'm gonna try to find something from the Tank Commander too. Stick that up there. I wish I would have thought about it when he was in here. But yeah, Black American Homeland, which is under the account Black Southern Strategy, recently re-released his book, The Black Paper, if I'm correct, and it is so it's available. And, we encourage everybody to pick up a copy of the book, write a review, and start having that dialogue with, friends and family. Volvo, you got it.
Yeah, it was a lot said. I was trying to touch on something that Tank was saying. He was basically, he ran away though, so I don't know, I can't remember exactly. But he was basically explaining white supremacy, and he didn't even know he was explaining. He didn't even know that he was explaining. He was basically explaining what white supremacy was. I wanted to talk to him about what he was saying, but it was just so much said. He didn't even know what he was explaining. That's why I always say black people are always late to the party. Like, it's like he's starting to get it, but he feel as though that he's bringing light to something that's already, that's already been said. As far as he touched on this, the other countries, he was saying that white supremacy is coming to an end. It's not global, but it's coming to an end. But he was explaining why it is global. You know what I mean? Like, the money makes it global. That's what the other countries are trying to do. They're trying to come off the dollar. They're trying to come off this white supremacist system. That's what Russia's doing. That's what China's doing. That's what they're trying to do. But it was just so much babbling going on. I mean, about nothing. I didn't get a chance to touch on that point, but appreciate you letting me speak, brother. Hey, Volvo, do you think if you look at the 1500, 1600, 1700, 1800, right, and you see how the Europeans, right, they were extremely, ambitious people, right? They traveled the world, they sailed the world. They look for new markets, right? They went to India, they went to China. They went to North America, South America, and then they saw no competition, so they decided that, hey, these people can't compete with us. We're gonna go ahead and take over the whole continent. So that's what they did, man. The reason why the so-called white supremacy worked, because other groups weren't competing against the Europeans back in, in the 1400s to the 1800s. But now, you got China, Japan, India. Those countries are now becoming more powerful, and they are now able to compete against so-called white supremacy. and therefore, and that's how we have to be, man. We need to compete. I think that's the only. We have to compete.
Okay, yeah, but when you say that they were so ambitious, the other people been traveling all around the world. The thing that white people got over everybody else is that they more devious, they more sinister. These people evil.
Oh yeah, they very profit oriented, very profit oriented. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but when other people went all over the world, they didn't go to steal from the people. They didn't go to enslave the people. They went to do business. They were explorers. They went to explore. They went to trade secrets and trade ideas. White people went to go steal. That was their whole purpose. They went to go get over on people. That's why everywhere they go, they stole from the people. So that's what they got over everybody else, is their evil, wicked nature. So that's where their level. Nobody's ready for that level of indecency. We can take the Native Americans for example. When white people was getting off the ships and all that, they were sick. They were dying. They were not making it. The Native Americans said, well, these are our fellow human beings. They may look different, but these are our fellow human beings. Let me show these people how to farm the land, how to what the seasons look like, and where to go to get this, and how to live on the land. Once white people got strong, they stole from the people. They took over the land. Nobody, if you save my life, brother, I'm not gonna break in your house after you save my life. I'm gonna say, well, hey, black majority state, black Southern strategy. You got a son? Shit, he might can marry my daughter. You know, these good people right here. I want to, let's marry into the family. You got a friend for life with me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have no plans on stealing from you. You just saved my life. I'm not white though. That's the white way. I always say this. I mean, me to do a video on it, but I got a saying: the foreigner will always steal from the native, and that has always been true all throughout human history.
Oh yeah, look, man, look. If you notice the type of people that go to other countries, they're very ambitious people. If you're weak, they're going to take advantage of you. I mean, that's just the way the world is. You know, look, I mean, a good example, like look, living in Southeast Asia, right? You know, we hire maids, right? And we pay our maid like $50, $60, $70 a month. You know, I didn't want to do that, but the thing is, that's just the going rate of paying a maid, and you can say I took advantage of it, and you know, but
brother, it's a difference between paying the going rate and just taking it. Now, if you make this maid your slave, that's something totally different. If that maid want to quit, she can quit, right?
Of course, she can quit.
Well, there you have it. That's a business transaction. I'm giving you what you're asking for. I'm not putting a gun in your head and making you clean my house. That's that $50, $60, $70 a month. That might be a high paying job.
But see, the thing is, some people in America told me that, you know, I'm using slave labor because I'm paying the girl, you know, $50, $60, $70 a month. So I'm like participating in slavery. Because, you know, I mean, you know, people just say things like that, you know.
But brother, you got to realize, you got to be able to read between the lines as well. Like how I look at it is, they dumb. They don't know what the world look like. So, you know, that's a high paying job over there. That's a good job over there. They don't know what the world look like. They just couldn't imagine cleaning your house for $70 a month. Because they saying what I'm gonna get for that. You know what I mean? Like how can I live off $70 a month? The poorest person in America couldn't survive off $70 a month. So that's just how they looking at it. They ain't looking at the world. That's what I always say, brother. Black people late to the party. We always late to the party. That black people time shit is real. That is real. We is always late to the party, and I don't know what that is.
Okay. Shout out to all the new faces in the space here. I'm just going to read the title again. The title is "We Are Not," capital NOT, begging you to participate in uplifting Black America. And this comes from the naysayers. I've been dealing with naysayers in comments and posts on Twitter for the last 2.5, 3 years, and on Facebook for 1.5 to 2 years before that. People who don't understand the numbers, they don't understand the logistics, they don't understand that 8 million Black Americans have moved to southern states since 2000. 8 million at this point. So for anyone who says, the reverse migration, Black people moving to the South, anything negative when it comes to that, well, they are dismissing the 8 million of us who have already made that decision over the last 23 years. And those numbers keep going up. The only problem with it is we're moving to the larger states where we cannot, because we don't have enough population to become the majority population. And we need to start strategically moving to the smaller states where we can become the Black majority population. So it's not so much that we're not moving down there or we're not willing to, because we already are. We just gotta move strategically and refocus where we move.
Matrix, man. We're in the Matrix.
Okay. All right. I'll be in and out. Damn it.
All right. Oh, he go ahead. Go ahead.
Motherfuckers, man, with the shits, bro. Hit me with the shits. Hey.
Along with Black majority state, these brothers right here, man, they do some very good work with putting together a lot of technical stuff that we might need to know as Black Americans. So you got two technical sound geniuses right there. So just so you know, Black America, you need advice about your phones and other technical issues. There you go. That's two brothers right there. I mean, that just goes to show you, Black America, we have a lot of intelligent people up in our spaces. So when I hear people come up in the space saying that we don't have anybody to turn to, or we don't have people that can do this type of stuff, that's bullshit. We got Black Americans that can do a lot of shit. We got Black Americans that are doctors, Black Americans that are technically sound. We got Black Americans that are sports. We got Black Americans that can do it all. So there it is. But I just want to kind of put that out there. I see Black is back up. Go ahead, Black.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody in the space, all the new faces. And this is like my third or fourth time having to drop out. But I'm gonna look at the Jumbotron. So I created this poll a couple days ago, and it is by percentage of accountability ? How complicit and responsible do you believe the federal government is in causing harm to Black American descendants? There were 3 options. The federal government is 25% responsible, the federal government is 50% responsible, or the federal government is 100% responsible. We've got 142 votes on this so far. There's like another day left, or a little less than a day. 85% said 100%. And then the 25% and the 50% are almost equal to each other. 8% on the 25 and 7% on the 50%. So 15% of the voters in this poll don't necessarily give all the credit to the federal government, which is interesting for a number of different reasons. The main reason being that most of us, from what I understand, look to the federal government to provide protection for Black Americans. Now, this may be a group of people who are thinking that the states are responsible, which is actually probably more accurate than anything. However, the federal government has a major part to play in what happens or does not happen to Black Americans in this country. So, if anybody would like to speak on how much they believe the federal government is responsible and complicit. So complicity is another element to it, because even if they're not fully responsible, they do share some complicity in what goes on because they could intervene. Everybody says, we need this federal protection legislation that'll protect us, but when I look at legislation, especially when it comes to law enforcement, it doesn't stop crime. It enhances the charges for crimes, but it doesn't necessarily prevent the crimes. We've had the death penalty in this country in many states. We have life imprisonment, which means you're going to spend the rest of your life in imprisonment and you'll never see the outside of a cell again. Neither of those prevent murders from happening in the states that have those as punishments. So outside of, they talk about retraining and all these other things to make police better. Outside of, to be quite honest, these people just waking up one day and being completely different people, the opposite of what they are and who they are. It's unlikely that anything from the federal government is going to save us, but they certainly could do a whole hell of a lot more. There's no question about that. Vovo, you got it. Your hands up.
Hold on 1 second, Bobo. Like I definitely want to chime in on that for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Brother, I want to chime in on that too, and I have my hand up, and you better go for a long time talking about other stuff. No, I won't go for a long time, but I promise. Besides, Bobo, I'm a co-host, so I'm gonna chime in on you for just a second, bro. Here's the thing about that, Black. That's a good question. The thing that bothers me about all of this whole thing with law enforcement, I never have understood why the U.S. federal government has not tried to bring this all up under one federalized system. And it should be because every time these incidents happen with law enforcement in the different municipalities, counties, states, whatever, there's always this view of different municipality laws, ordinances,
how the country works,
policies.
Yes.
But if you was to have it all up under one federalized system, that would resolve the issue. Because last time I checked, if you are a federal government that makes the laws of the nation, that means you control all of this. See, at the end of the day. Now, the states have the governors, they have their state legislatures, they have their own state supreme courts, they have their own commissions and city councilmen and all this stuff. But you are the federal government. That means you make the laws of the nation. That means everything falls up under you. See? So what you could do, you could pass down what they call a resolution to all the different states, to all the different state legislatures and the governors, and say to them, if law enforcement
is not honoring or obeying these things, your state would lose funding. See, your state would lose this amount of funding.
Can't do it
by not following the guidelines that we have set forth for you guys to follow.
I love that answer, man, because
I just want to put that out there. Go ahead, Bobo.
Hey, I love that answer. After Vovo, I'm gonna respond to that.
Yeah, but brother, it already is like that. It's just not being enforced. I live in Cleveland, Ohio, where the police shot a black couple 86 times.
Damn.
And the federal government came and stepped in.
Damn.
You know, they could easily say that we can cut your funding off. Like they can already do that. That ain't nothing. Like that's not nothing. What you saying? That's exactly how it is. It's just not being enforced. There was something. There was a question you asked. I knew I was. Oh no, you was asking about the percentage of the federal government's complacency and how was it? How did you put it, brother?
Yeah, either responsible and complicit.
Oh, they're 100% responsible. That's what I wanted to get to. They're 100% responsible because America made us a promise. They made everybody a promise. Part of America's creed is liberty and justice for all. That's like America's mission statement. Liberty, freedom, and justice, meaning the right thing for all. Now we can just look at simple history and see that America hasn't done the right thing by black people. If you put me in slavery, that's not you doing the right thing. We all know that that's wrong. If you do science experiments on me and give me syphilis, we all know that that's wrong. If you Jim Crow me, we all know that that's wrong. If you put drugs in my community, we all know that that's wrong. So all the things I just named were programs set in place by the federal government. So our whole history has been us being sabotaged directly at the hands of the federal government. The white people being evil, that's just who they are. But the government, that's why I always ask the question, why would a government sabotage its citizens? That's the big question. That's the biggest question that we can ask. Not is they like that, but why is they like that? Why would a government sabotage its own citizens? If we are competing on the world stage, right, and we're competing with these other people, right, why would a government sabotage its own citizens? Why would they weaken the people of the country that they took an oath to protect? Why would they break their oath? So anybody saying that the government is 85%, even 99%, they what I want to say, they're probably just a troll or they real stupid. They probably like an evil troll or they real stupid because there's no way this is. That's what our whole struggle has been, us being sabotaged at the hands of the federal government. I appreciate you letting me speak, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Wow. So
hey, Black, I'm stupid, man. I'm stupid. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So because oh man. So Professor laid out something very, very important. And Volvo just laid out something that's very, very important. So to the Volvo's part was that the federal government ending Reconstruction makes them extremely responsible and complicit in everything that has happened since. But it also shows how temporary anything the federal government does will be. Very, very, very temporary. If it even chooses to act, to Volvo's point. They don't enforce anything specifically when it comes to us. They may take a high profile case here and there, and that has seemingly been stepped up more recently than in past years. But there's still thousands, if not tens of thousands, or 20,000 fires occurring every single month in this country that directly impact us, our population, our people, and they do absolutely nothing about them. So, Vovo's right. On one hand, to the professor's point about a centralized federal dictatorship, a tyrannical, totalitarian government system, like in China, like in Russia, like in other countries like North Korea and Iran, where there is a centralized power, and typically there's one person who controls everything in the country. For us in America, or really for us anywhere on the planet, unfortunately, that would have devastating consequences. And especially here in America, because we have this two-party system that likes to play political theater where they bounce the ball back and forth so that the public's always blaming the other side, but nothing ever changes. And so they could blame each other through one administration, the blue side, through the other administration, the red side, and we would be devastated, decimated. Like quite literally, the genocide for our population would accelerate, in my opinion, because when you have all power, you have no checks, you have no balances, you have no limits on the power that you have. And so while it would be awesome if there was a centralized federal government that actually gave a damn about us, could step in and defend our people, the reality is that if this system, if this government had all power, they're not doing anything already, and it would likely only get worse. And that's part of the reason why we want to establish these black majority states, because by moving, instead of being scattered all across 48 states or 50 states or whatever it is, and we actually got ourselves in a position where now we do control the systems of government that we actually interact with every single day. When you live somewhere in this country, just living there, you're paying taxes, you're dealing with utility services. If you leave your house, you're dealing with local law enforcement, county law enforcement, state law enforcement. If you're driving on the roads, if you're going to courthouses, if you're getting driver's license, anything, even you're working, or you're just going to the grocery store for that matter, everything that you're doing is serviced by local government for the most part. Even the roads, even though the federal government pays for the roads, it's a local contractor that is likely performing the work. We really have very few interactions with the federal government. We pay our taxes, we vote, and even when we vote, we're actually voting in a state election system, because the states control the elections, even the federal elections. So if we really just took the time and think about how many times do we actually interact with the federal government, the people who work for the government, if they work at the post office or they work in some other federal function, they probably have way more interactions with the federal government than most of the population. But most of the population, we have very, very, very little actual interaction with the federal government. Most of it is state, county, local interactions. And so instead of the federal government becoming the centralized power where we just get to stay where we're at, if we move, we actually shift the centralized power to the state where it's already at. We just end up taking over. And I do like to use the term takeover, because while we can rewrite the Constitution and we can rewrite laws and we can rewrite the educational curriculum, and I mean, there's a lot of, we can rewrite the banking system. There's a lot of rewriting we can do. But the reality is much of the system that's in place, we are a part of it. We are a part of, I want to be careful with my words, because I don't want to say that we because we all like to say we built the country and we're the foundation of the country, and I believe in that, and I get that. However, if you build a house and someone comes into your house and they kick you out of your house and they take over your house and they're living in your house, it's no longer your house. And the same thing is true with these state, local, county government offices and these positions of authority. We may have even built some of these state houses, to be quite honest, across this country in these southern states where we want to establish Black majority states. We are basically kicking them out. We are taking the authority, and then we're rewriting it in our image for our advantage for our future generations. The federal government having that much authority over all of the citizens would not work out well. In no country where there's minority populations does it work out well for the minority populations. It always goes into some type of genocide. China has a group of Muslims they call the Uyghurs. They've been persecuting those people, rounding them up, sending them to concentration camps, trying to sterilize them. There's all kind of reports that come out of China for this group of people. We know about what happened in Germany, obviously. Whether it was 6 million or not doesn't really matter. The fact is they were rounding people up and essentially killing those people. Everywhere there's an ethnic minority, even in African countries, where there's this centralized dictatorship, they start killing the minorities off. That's just the reality of humanity. And so I love this system because it has the checks and balances, because it has the separation of powers, because there's not one centralized government that controls everything. It is white degeneracy. They do have a lot of power. They do control everything around us, but there's ways for us to put ourselves in much better positions and really not have to deal with them. Because we don't already, literally, we already we don't deal with the federal government that much. I'm trying to think of other ways outside of, going to go to the post office and filing my taxes. I'm having a hard time coming up. Maybe something to do with my social security number, I guess. Dealing with a bank, technically banks are also regulated at the state level. So there's like dual regulation there as well. I'm sure all the utilities are regulated, state and federal. Yeah, probably. But it's just very little interaction. Unless you're involved in federal crimes, then you're probably likely to be dealing with the federal government. I'll land with that.
Hey, Black.
Yep.
Hey, Black. Yeah. Okay. Black. I want to talk about the first Constitution, which is the Article of the Confederation, right? And in Article 2, it states each state retain its sovereignty, freedom, and independence in every power, in every jurisdiction and right, which is not by this confederation expressly delegated to the United States in Congress assembled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Back in 99, 2000, right? You know, I was, when I had this idea about the Black American homeland, I'm trying to figure out how does this federal government and the states, how does it work?
Mm.
What is the relations between the federal government and the 50 states?
Mm.
And this law professor told me, he said the 50 states are like independent countries.
Mm.
The 50 states, they have their own constitution. They make their own laws. You know, they have reserve powers. They have their own court system. They have their own Supreme Court. The states are like independent countries.
Mm-hmm.
So when he put that in my head more than 20 years ago, this is 23 years ago because this is 1999. That shocked the hell out of me. Like, whoa, I have never considered a state like an independent country. But then I said, okay, maybe this is just the opinion of this one law professor. Then I went to another law professor, and that law professor said something similar. Then I went to about 20, 30 different law professors, right? I used to sit in law classes, right? And just try to figure out how the system worked, you know, back in the early days. But the thing is, the states are independent government entities. They have a lot of power. You know, the federal government has delegated powers. The 50 states have reserve and share power with the federal government. Look, you said something about committing federal crime. It's very hard to commit federal crime. 96% of the crimes that go to the court, right, are made in the state court. Only 4% of the crime is I forget the word is done on the federal level. So that's one thing. So the state has more say on our everyday life than the federal government. So if I took that, so that poll you had, right? I would say that the federal government is about 30 to 40% responsible, and the states are 60 to 70% responsible. The states have more say on our everyday life than the federal government. What power does the federal government? The federal government, they print money. They can declare war on other countries. The federal government, they control. Hold on, let me go to my notes. Excuse me for 1 second. I can't remember all this stuff. The federal government, they control commerce between the states. Now the state control commerce within the state, and the federal government controls commerce, you know, between the states and more than two states. So, I mean, you know, the system is very complicated. I've been trying to, it's easier for me to write this than to actually speak it. I've been teaching this on Twitter for more than, since 2013, 2012, 2013. I wrote my first book in 2012, and I've been trying to teach this system, the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the state respectively or to the people. So the state gives power to the people. U.S. constitutional power. I try to tell lawyers, look, we don't need no more civil rights. Don't fight for civil rights anymore. We need U.S. constitutional power, civil power. Fight for civil power. Because if Black Americans have civil power, U.S. constitutional power, then we are guaranteed to fight. We can fight for our civil rights. The power, we fight for power, then we can guarantee our civil rights. So that's the 10th Amendment. That's federalism. The United States is a big country. Is 3.6 million square miles. 335 million people. So a federalist system is the most, it's the best system for the United States. You would notice a lot of the large countries, they have a federalist system type of government. Your unitary government, what Professor was talking about, a unitary government is where the national government has all power and say throughout the whole system. There is no checks and balances. The national government controls everything. The people in the cities, in the counties, they don't have no say. Everything comes from the very top. But with federalism and in the United States, the federal government has some power, and the 50 states have their reserve power. And there are certain powers that the federal government cannot impose on the 50 states. So I dropped right there.
Black Homeland. I was gonna say, I think we the only country that does it like that too, man. Where we give these 50 states or 51 or 52, because I think the United States has mentioned something about adding the 2 territories in at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen. But let me say this. I think we the only country that does this stupid shit where we give states some kind of power to dominate a rule or make laws, right? Big mistake. Big mistake. It's a big mistake, y'all. And I'm going to tell you why it's a big mistake, because that's why we got into the Civil War and the country ended up being split, which is what they're trying to do right now. It's a big mistake, man. You can't do it. That's why Abraham Lincoln had to end up going and putting the shit back in. And he didn't do it because of us, by the way. He wasn't on our side, Black America. He did that because he said, shit, man, the damn union is breaking up. I got to pull this shit back in. So I'm telling y'all, this whole thing, when you giving 50 states all this damn power to do shit, is a big mistake. It just doesn't work. Look at the situation. Look at the situation that we're in right now with these 50 states having these different laws and shit, because we can't get shit under control. Look at the law enforcement. Law enforcement's out here doing whatever and whenever to Black Americans. You know why? Because the laws are different for each state. See, that's how come they get to do what they want to do. I want y'all to understand why this is a fuckery system.
Yeah, but look, Professor, it gives Black Americans an opportunity, right, to vote with their feet and move to another state where they can take supermajority of a state, because the state has a lot of power. We can exercise U.S. constitutional powers through the state. The state has the system. The state has the institutions. The state has the critical infrastructure. The state has the power, and the state has rights. If we take over the state, then we can exercise all the things that I just mentioned to you through the state. The state, the powers and rights of the state is written in the 10th Amendment. It's written in the U.S. Constitution.
But yeah, it is. But the thing is, we can't get our people to get on board with this, man. See, that's one of the things that I have mixed up black majority states.
But Professor, if they can understand what powers the state has, they will jump on. If we can converse to every black person that look, the 50 states are like independent country, right? But us black nationalists, we always talk about, hey, we want our own country. But guess what? If we take over a state, it's like having our own country. But we just under a central authority where, the federal government has certain powers over the state. Like, they got the Commerce Clause. They have the, what's another, I forgot the other, but, there's a few things that the state, the federal government can do to keep check and balance on the states. But also the state has power to check and balance on the federal government. Hey, don't forget, the federal government is made of the 50 states. Mm-hmm. The 100 senators that represent the states in the Senate come from the 50 states. So that means the senators, man, and the Congress, every state has a proportionate share of congressional representatives, on the federal level. So, man, not only do we have power within the state, but it will give us power on the federal level. So, look, man, most of the taxes we pay are state taxes, right? Look, I mean, I used to tweet this thing. I wish I can find it. It tells you all the taxes and fees that the state impose on its citizens, and also have the taxes that the federal government impose on its citizens. And believe me, there's a lot more state taxes and fees that the state has. Look, man, the state government, right? The states put Black Americans in prison, right? Most of our Black Americans in prison are for state crime, right? So if we can control a state, now we control the court system and the Supreme Court system. Now we can have better what's that word? We won't put all our people in prison. We will only put the most dangerous people in prison, because the governor, I mean not the governor, the judge of that state or the different court system, when he look at a defendant, that defendant's going to be Black like himself, right? And he's going to see, he said, you know what, you look just like my son, or you look just like my nephew, or you look like my brother, or whatever, right? And he's going to be more lenient on that person. But a white judge, when he sees a Black defendant, man, he's going to put 100 years on you. So that's the difference between controlling a state and in federalism and the 10th Amendment. I mean, look, the state's very powerful. We can take it with several states. Man, we'll be the most powerful Black people on the earth. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can I chime in real fast?
Yeah, go for it, Vovo. You got it.
Yeah, I want to say, brother, I'm not trying to start an argument or nothing like that, but I just believe that you're wrong, brother. I truly do. You said something about that I want to touch on. You said that the federal government is certain stuff that they can't do to states. I believe that that's wrong. Far as you saying that each state is like a individual country, that's just not true. I like to use the ideology of it's like a house. The United States of America is the house, and each state is just a room in the house. When I lived in my father's house, it was certain shit that he couldn't do. I had the rules in my room. I could tell my sister, don't come in here with those toys and all that. But that's his room. You respect his room. But my father had the final say. It's like the NBA. when Donald Sterling got caught saying he don't want no black folks at the game and all that, he owned the Los Angeles Clippers, but he was still under the authority of the NBA. So he can say whatever he wants. I mean, he didn't want to sell his team. That was his baby, but they forced him out because he was under the authority of the NBA. That was his team. He owned the team, but they made him sell it because they wanted him out of the NBA. So each state, they can do what they want to do within the framework of the United States government. That's who has the final say in all this shit. I appreciate y'all letting me speak.
Okay, hey Bravo. Okay, let's go over the powers of the state and the federal government. Hey Black, do you have time for this?
Yeah, let's see what Sean got to say, and then you could jump into that.
Okay, all right.
No, I can wait, man. Y'all cooking, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. And Black, you can jump in if you want to. Okay.
Hey, hold on 1 second, Black. Hold on 1 second, Black. Man, Sean, you sure you don't want to go, man? Because that might turn into a long one. You sure you don't want to go right now? No, that's fine. I'm here to learn more to talk. Okay. All right.
Okay. Look, this is very complicated, but we have to know this. Look, when you playing football, right? You have to know the playbook. You have to know the rules of football. If you playing basketball, you need to know the rules of basketball. So the fact that we live in the United States, we have to know the rules of the U.S. Constitution and the rules of the state constitution. Because guess what? We're citizens of both. We're citizens of the state and that you live in, and we're citizens of the federal government. Okay. All right. The powers of the state, okay, the power of the state includes regulate interstate businesses or commerce. That's within the state. The state has power to charter local government like cities, counties, towns. The state conduct elections. The state issue licenses, permits, and certificates. Look, these licenses, permits, and certificates, you don't get on the federal level. You get it within your state, right? The state is in charge of measures for public health and safety. The federal government can do something like that. Ratify amendments to the Constitution. Only the 50 states can ratify amendments to the Constitution. The federal government cannot ratify amendments to the Constitution. And exert powers in the Constitution that doesn't delegate to the national government prohibited by the state, blah, blah, blah. Now, these are the concurrent powers. These are the shared powers between the federal government and the state government. Both the federal government and the state, they can borrow money. Both the federal government and the state government, they can issue bonds. Both the federal government and state government, they can charter banks and corporations. Now look, a lot of the Black community, we had a hard time chartering banks and corporations because we don't have control of a state. If we control a state, the first thing we're going to do, man, we're going to charter many banks and we're going to charter many Black-owned corporations. That's going to be our agenda. That's going to be our policy within a Black-owned state. Both the federal government, they have their court system. The state has their court system, right? But most criminal courts are done on the state level. Okay, both now collect. I'm here to collect taxes. Both the federal government and the state, they collect taxes, make and enforce laws. The federal government, they make and enforce laws, and the state, they make and enforce laws. Eminent domain powers. The state has eminent domain powers, and the federal government also has eminent domain powers. but I'm not sure if it's on federal land or can federal government take. I think the federal government has to ask the state if for the to take over land or whatever like that, because the state is the main owner of state land. Okay, and spend money for the general welfare. Both governments do that. Now, let me
ask you this, brother. Okay, brother. Okay, now if the states can just do whatever they want, what's the purpose of the federal government?
Well, the federal government does have checks and balances on the state, but look, the state cannot do it.
Remember what I just said, brother? Like when I used to live in my father's house, yeah, I make the rules of my little room. Yeah, don't come in here with that. I don't like this. I will, I get, but I can't hang the wrong poster in my room. I couldn't hang the LGBT poster in my room. My father would have snatched that shit up and won and whooped my ass. So the state is not what I want to say sovereign nation. They're still under the framework of the United States government. They got to answer to the United States government. They're still under that umbrella. You know what I mean? You can rattle off all this stuff, but at the end of the day, the federal government got the final say.
Hey, look, I'm on the federal government website. I'm telling you exactly how this thing is read, right? The federal government power, they have power to print money. The states do not have power to print money. The federal government, they regulate commerce between the states. The state only regulate commerce within their territory or within their border. The federal government makes treaties and conduct foreign policy. The federal government, only the federal government can declare war. The 50 states cannot declare war on anybody. The state of Texas cannot declare war on the state of Oklahoma. The state of Florida cannot declare war on the state of Georgia. Let's see. The federal government provide a national army, navy, and air force. Now, there's a state, in Black, I forget what to call it, but there's a state law that the states can also have their own state defense forces. They have their own army, their own state navy, their own state
National Reserves and the National Guard. Reserves and the National Guard.
No, this is totally different. This is totally different from the National Reserve. The state can have their own state defense forces.
A state militia.
The state defense forces are not under they cannot be called up by the president of the United States.
Are you talking about a militia?
Well, that's another one. That's a state militia. That's a private group that's registered within the state. But you have the state defense forces. You have to look this up because this is very powerful. Because people say to me, "Okay, we take political control of a state. How do we protect ourselves?" Well, the way we protect ourselves is we have National Guards and reserve forces, and we also have our state defense forces. That is how we're going to protect ourselves. We have the men, our men from the age 18 to 30, right? They're going to represent. They're going to be in our state military. Well, they're going to serve. Go ahead.
Let me say this, right, brother. We can look at like real stuff, right, that's going on right now. This is real factual. Hold on, wait. Real fast. I'm gonna go real fast. There's actual so-called sovereign nations within the continental America. The Native Americans, that their land, those reservations are considered to be sovereign nations that have nothing to do with it.
No.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. That's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to. And that's what I'm getting to. And that's what I'm getting to. That's what I always say. Black people late to the party, brother. Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. And that's exactly what I was getting to. Yeah, the federal government runs it. So if we have a black majority state, right, we still got to go answer to them. That's what I've been trying to say the whole time, right?
The federal government does not own the states. The states are sovereign, independent government entities. You have to put that. Dude, hey, look, man, look. Go to a website. Go talk to lawyers, man. Look, you would know the Republican Party. Their number one agenda is to take control of states. That's their number one agenda because they know the state have a lot of power, right? That's why they don't want to give black people power because in Mississippi, black people have it's a possibility that black people can take over the state of Mississippi. The state of Georgia is 33% black. It's a possibility black people can take the state of Georgia. Louisiana is 34% black. It's a possibility that black people can take the state of Louisiana. So these states that have a large black population, right? The Republican Party, they're going to try all they can to keep control of those states that have black population because once they lose power, man, they're going to lose all the what do you call those electoral college votes? Because each state also has their electoral college vote. If we control the state, we also control the electoral college votes within that state.
And that's my point, brother. And that's my point. Yeah, these electoral college votes, they got to answer to the United States government. It all goes back up to the United States. Why would that vote matter? Why would that vote matter? Now, this is something you brought up. Why would that vote matter then? Why would they fight so hard to take control of the states? Because they want to take control of the United States government. That's why they're fighting so hard to take control of the states. Whoever controls the states controls the government.
The truth of the matter is, y'all, the states still have to adhere to the federal government laws and to the United States Supreme Court, who can jump in and overrule any of the state courts. So therefore, yes, the states do have sovereign to make their own laws, but that does not mean that they can overrule the United States government. When it comes down to the United States government, everybody, is that the United States just has to enforce it. So that means, like the United States Department of Justice, if they see these cases with law enforcement happening, guess what? All they have to do is just jump in and say, hey, look, for all you police departments out here, we're going to take over. We're going to take over your police departments if y'all don't correct the shit that's going on.
That's not sovereignty then. That's not sovereignty. You're not free. You're not independent.
That's what I'm telling you, what the United States government can do. That's what I'm telling you.
I know if they can do that.
Yes, they can do that. Yes, they can.
Yeah, I know they can. That's what I'm saying, brother. That means you're not sovereign then. You're not independent. You're not right. You don't have the authority over yourself. That's exactly what that means. You just said it.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm telling Black Homeland that what he's saying is not quite true. The United States government is the dominant control. They are the dominant control. All we need is Joe Biden. See, Joe Biden is the president, right? All Joe Biden got to do is say, hey, look, I need you right now, United States Department of Justice, to go down to every police department. I want you to put them all under federal control. That's all he got to do. And it can be done. Yes, he can.
Don't have power like that.
Yes, he can do it.
He can't do that.
Yes, he can. Oh, yes, he can.
Hey,
Professor,
can I jump in real quick? Yes, he can do it.
Can I jump in real quick?
Black Professor, go ahead and take it, bro. I can prove that he could do it.
Look. Bobo, you just said it real fast 10 fucking times. You just said it real fast 10 times.
20 seconds.
You just said this shit 5 times.
I just want to prove that they can actually do it. Like I said, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. When they shot that black couple 86 times, the DOJ stepped in and said, "Whoa, wait, hold on, what's going on here? You're not sovereign if somebody can step in."
What do you mean by step in? What? They say they're going to do something? They always do something like that. They say, okay, we're going to do an investigation on this police department.
They don't always do that, Black Homeland, they don't always do that. That's what Black Majority just mentioned earlier. They step in some cases. But they have the authority. But they have the authority. But they do have the authority.
Look, there's a difference between taking over a whole state police department and saying,
Black Homeland, they can do it. That's why they the federal central government can do that.
Now, you said the president. Now, the president definitely can't do it. The president has...
If he orders the Department of Justice to go into the states and take control of those departments, those police departments, they can do it. But they choose not to do it. They do it in some cases. They do it in some cases, but in some cases they don't.
Look, in the 200 year of the United States, the federal government has never went into a state and took over a police department. Has never done it. Never.
Hey, Professor, let me jump in real quick. We wasting a bunch of energy. We wasting a bunch of fucking energy on nothing. If you look in the Constitution, it is clear and present. There is a supremacy clause. The federal government is sovereign over every state in the United States. I'll give you one of the most famous examples of all. Everybody knows this story. George C. Wallace, he stood at the doors of the University of Alabama, and the state of Alabama refused to integrate the University of Alabama. President Kennedy said, "I don't give a damn what you say or what you think." He sent the federal government in, and it didn't matter what the state of Alabama said. They had to integrate that college, and I land my plane.
Okay. Black American always call on the federal government to step in. That's why. Because Kennedy showed right there the power that the federal government has. That's what I've been trying to tell you. The federal government can do it. It's just if they choose to do so.
It's literally you can Google the supremacy clause. This is not new information.
I know about the supremacy clause, right? I mentioned the supremacy clause.
Hey, Black American. Let me step in here because we've gone so far down this rabbit hole. It's a little disturbing, but oh God. Okay, so let me start backwards with the supremacy clause. Okay, the supremacy clause is very limited. It is only limited to unconstitutional actions, which means that there has to be something that's happening within a state that's unconstitutional that gives the federal government the ability to go into a state for one specific purpose. It's not the same as the federal government coming into a state and dictating to the state what it does in its daily business or its daily activity. It is one specific event, which means it's 99.9% of what the state does, it is doing and is going to continue to do, and the federal government will have no say-so over any of that. It's this 1.1% of activity that was determined to be unconstitutional that triggered the supremacy clause that allowed them to come into the state. Those are two completely different things. Doesn't mean the federal government is over the state or has power over the state. It simply means that the state was acting in a way that was unconstitutional. And the U.S. Constitution is not the federal government. The U.S. Constitution is over the federal government the same way that it's over all of the states. It sits outside of the government, quite literally. It's the document that we all live under if you live in the United States or a territory. And it does dictate how things are done within the United States and all of the territories of the United States. But it's not the federal government. There's a separation there that we really got to understand. So that addresses the supremacy clause. Very, very, very limited powers when the federal government can come into a state and do anything, such as what happened in integrating these schools. Okay, I'm trying to remember everything that was said because so much was said. It was kind of bizarre.
You can talk about the 10th Amendment, the federalism.
No, I don't want to get into that. Volvo said something about a house with rooms. Okay. So he gave an analogy of a house. His father's in this house. His father's the dictator of the house, is what his father says goes. That's a dictatorship. That's not how America is established or set up at all. In fact, the states gave their power to the federal government to create the Constitution that they agreed to abide by. Like, that's literally how the country was formed. The states had all the power. They said, we'll give some of our authority to the federal government in agreement so that they could have protection. And what did they need to be protected from? They needed to be protected from foreign nations. This is the main purpose of the federal government, is to protect the states from foreign nations. That is the sole purpose of the federal government, quite literally. That's why the president, most of the things that the president deals with is foreign policy. It's not domestic policy, to be quite honest about it. Our representatives who go to Congress, they have some foreign influence as well. They deal with foreign policy, but their main focus should be domestic because they are representatives of each state. They are representatives of the people. And so they should be going to Congress to deal with domestic issues. They also deal with the foreign. So that's why the federal government was created, to protect the states. That is their mandate. I'm gonna get into this house with the rooms. Okay. So a better analogy, and I think this is one we can all understand, would be a shopping complex that has 50 individual businesses that work together for the benefit of the collective, but they are separate from each other. They have a vote in how the complex is operated. The federal government would be the management office for the complex, because the federal government essentially acts as a manager, not a dictator, but a manager over the 50 individual states, more like a big brother relationship than a father or a dictator relationship. It would not dictate to the individual businesses what they buy or sell, meaning that these states can choose how to operate. And I'm going to give you 3 examples of federal laws that states do not follow. Marijuana. It's number 1. It's illegal. It's a Schedule 1 illegal drug at the federal level. It's legal in states because states can give their citizens more rights. That's the power that states have. They can give their citizens more rights than the federal government, but it's unconstitutional for them to give their citizens less rights than the federal government. That's a very important distinction to understand. Marijuana. Prostitution, whether you agree with it or not, it's legal in one state, although it's illegal across in the federal government. There's something called euthanasia, which is essentially meaning that someone who wants to die with dignity, they have a terminal illness, and they do not, their family just says, we want to let this person go. And back in the 80s, 90s, there was a character named Dr. Kevorkian who was an advocate of allowing people to die with dignity. Euthanasia is not legal on the federal level. However, some states have instituted euthanasia as a legal process to allow people to die with dignity.
Black, you in the matrix, man.
Okay, all right. I'm a bounce in and bounce out. I'm a bouncing and bounce out, and we'll finish it. Thank you, motherfucker. Twitter always fucking with me at this point in time. Goodness fucking gracious, bro. Twitter, man. Of course, they give you a minute to get back in. Wow. Okay, hopefully I'm back in and everyone can hear me. I'm gonna get DJ up here. I'm hearing this weird choppy sound on my side. I hope it's not affecting what you guys are hearing. So I talked about the Serenity Clause. I really tried to explain that we're not living in a house. We're living in 50 separate buildings, that we can do what we want to do in our buildings, and we just are a part of this complex. I hope that that's a better, clearer visual of what's going on. No, in fact, during COVID, under Trump's presidency, the governor of New York and the governor of California specifically said it would be a declaration of war if you sent federal agents in here to force people to do whatever. I forget what Trump wanted to do. He was talking about forcing something in these states, and I don't know if it was vaccinations or if it was something to do with COVID. I just can't remember what it was. So in other words, a state can say, and the governor specifically can say, we will not comply with the federal government because we think the federal government is not obeying the Constitution that sits above the federal government. So just the same way that the states are required to follow the U.S. Constitution, the federal government is also required to follow the U.S. Constitution. And here's I'm trying to think of a really quick example. That Trump one is probably the one that sits out to me. Here's another thing that happened, because I heard somebody say. Well, let me say this one. Someone talked about money, talked about the federal government withholding money from the states. So Obamacare, which is this American Care Act, whatever, it went out to all the states. Obama said, you all got to take it, it's mandatory. Well, the states said, BS, we don't agree, we're going to federal court. They went to federal court, and this happens almost every single month, or if not every single day. States are taking the federal government to court because this is how the system actually works. They don't just do what the federal government says. They take them to federal court, and then the federal courts figure it out. So these 14 states or 12 states, whatever it is, they said, no, we're not doing Obamacare. We don't believe in it. We're not implementing it. Trump's administration says, okay, we're going to keep the money that we give to you for Medicare or whatever it was. They took them to court. The court said it is unconstitutional for the federal government to withhold money in this situation, specifically to withhold money from the states because they did not want to implement Obamacare. And currently there are still, it's either 11 or 12 states, I know Mississippi is one of them, that still haven't implemented Obamacare. They still refuse to implement Obamacare, but they still take the money. Okay. I I wish I could remember what that COVID issue was, because he was talking about the comma posse Thomas, whatever that act is.
Gay marriage.
Gay marriage. Awesome. Gay marriage is a good one. You know what? Since you brought that up, go for it.
I know what you're saying, brother. I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. And I've been agreeing with what you're saying. I think we missing the higher point. That dictatorship you speak of, that's the Constitution. They gotta. If you're gonna be in this system, you gotta follow the Constitution. You do whatever you want in your personal room or your personal apartment building, but it's got to be within the framework of the United States of America. You said out your own mouth, they gave the power. You kind of say that they sovereign, almost like sovereign countries. You said out your own mouth that they gave the power to the United States government. That's who it ain't Biden per se. It ain't one man. It's this document that we all live under, like you said. So
Okay,
yeah, you can make the rules in your room, hold on, real fast, brother. You can make the rules in your room or in your store you renting out of this shopping mall, but the shopping mall owner, that's the dictator. He ain't gonna let you sell drugs in the shopping mall. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta.
I literally just said that marijuana is illegal at the federal level, but it's legal in the states.
Wait, brother. That's just an example. He ain't
I
gonna
mean,
let
that's
you
a horrible example.
Let me see something else.
That's a horrible example.
Explosives out of the shopping mall. He going because that's illegal in the United States. You gotta follow the rules of the shopping mall, even if you own a business in the shopping mall. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so what Black Majority is saying about all of this is very true.
Oh man, what are you doing here, bro? I'm tripping, man. I got kicked out of my YouTube live. Damn it, my bad.
Oh, did it go down?
No, it's good. It's good. My bad. You got it.
Oh, okay. Like Black Majority said, the federal government is under that one document, which is the Constitution, okay? Which is, it's all supposed to be check and balance. It's separate. But at the end of the day, we know that when it comes to this government, they don't necessarily follow a code of anything. They all kind of just make up their own shit. I have seen it myself. Let's just be honest. They really do just make up their own shit as they go. As bad as that sounds, it's true. Now, I used to work for the Department of what you call unemployed services here in Alabama. The Department of Unemployment, right? Well, you know there's going to be a national unemployment services in Washington that's going to be over all of the states, right? So when this pandemic broke out, and they sent out this, at the time, what they called the federal stimulus, right? They sent out this extra money to all the states to help pay for people who were being laid off. That's what they called the federal stimulus money. That extra, I think it was like 600, or maybe it was 800. I forgot. But it was like the extra amount of money that the Fed sent out to all the states.
Yeah, I'm just leave it alone. I'm gonna just leave it alone
for unemployment.
Before I screw something up again.
How about the federal government sit down the reports to all the states, because there were people that received money that shouldn't have been getting it, right? Federal government sent out reports to all the states that, hey, y'all all got to go back and collect that money that people were not supposed to be getting. Okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. The people that don't believe the federal government can't tell these states what to do, they told them what to do right there. I know, because I worked in the Department of Labor or the Department of Unemployment. That was the report that came down from the Fed. They said, hey, y'all got to go back and collect all that money that was sent out to people that were not supposed to get.
Hey, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, the federal government was giving out money to the state. The federal government was helping out the state. So they gave them money and they said, hey, look, there's some criminal activity going on. You need to collect that money. And the state said, okay, we'll do it. Because
what I'm saying, Black American homeland, the states are not sovereign. They sovereign into a certain extent, but they're not going to overrule the feds. That's my point. That's the only reason. That's the only point I was trying to make to you guys. They're not going to be able to overrule the feds on anything.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, Professor. So I'm gonna ask you two questions. The first one is, because I want to go back to this whole centralized government. Do you, because and it started from this poll about how complicit is the federal government in harming Black Americans. Do you believe the federal government harms Black Americans? Would you say 100%, 50%, or 25%?
I would put it at 50% Black majority.
Okay. So let's because I want to break this down. So 50% harm from the federal government. Where does the other 50% come from?
It's actually going to be the state. I think the states do more harm than the feds.
Okay. Awesome. That's and I can't disagree with that. That paints a good picture. So they're both complicit. They're both responsible. I totally agree with you 1000%. Now I want to take that information and then say, under any state in this country currently, is there a state in which Black Americans have protection, prosperity, and are empowered?
I would have to say no.
No, I agree. At the federal level, or is there anywhere in the country where the federal government has authority where Black Americans are protected, have prosperity, and are empowered?
I would say no on that too.
Agreed. I think we all agree, right? So those are the two entities in the country that have authority and have discretion. Authority gives you the ability to investigate, to arrest, to charge, to convict, to write laws, to control the intercommerce within your state, and or the federal government gives them the authority to control interstate commerce within the country. But we'll never control the federal government. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay, awesome. Now, we talk about Black majority states because it's a majority rule society. And even though Mississippi has 40%, currently, we do not control Mississippi. We control 30 of the counties down there in the state of Mississippi, but we don't control the whole state. But if we had 60% or 70% voter population, do you agree we could control the state of Mississippi if we had a majority population there?
Oh, most definitely, yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. So now, two entities that have authority and discretion, the federal government and state governments, we all agree we don't have enough population to control the federal government, but we do have enough population to control states, certain states, not all the states, but specific states. And if we get to that majority population, we now control an entity that has the authority to protect, prosper, and empower our population, and has the discretion to do a whole hell of a lot for our people, to be quite honest. Now, we've never had that. There's no plan outside of the stuff that we talk about that gets us to that. I've explained how 8 million Black Americans have moved to the quote unquote South in the last 23 years, and it has not yet produced a Black majority state because it's not designed to, because the systems that are in place are designed to push us and or pull us to these larger states with these jobs, these careers, so that we'll remain permanent minorities in these larger states, which means we'll always be subjugated and marginalized and pushed to the bottom of the barrel.
I got a question.
Okay.
What would those larger states look like? Are you talking about states like Texas and North Carolina? Because that's considered the South.
I am.
Actually, states like Florida, Texas, mostly Florida and Texas are getting the Black reverse migration. I say they're probably getting maybe 50% of the Black migration in the South, Florida and Texas.
So they're not moving to like Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Okay.
Well, there could be some.
A lot of Black people in Georgia, South Carolina.
Yeah,
North Carolina.
North Carolina is getting some people, yeah, but not enough. North Carolina is a large state. There's 10 million people there. It might be more than that. We're like 2 million of that number. We need 8 million or more. It's a large state. We need states where we need 1 million people or 2 million people to get to the 60% margin, because we only have a certain amount of people. Like, unfortunately, we don't have 100 million of us in this country. We've got a very limited population. So we got to be strategic. If those 8 million people moved into Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and even Arkansas, we would control all 4 of those states today.
The problem is a lot of our Black Americans are not trying to move to the South, which is what we've been trying to get them to see, that moving to the South will help what Black majority is speaking of.
Yeah,
to dominate
but here's the problem: 8 million. So coming out of the South, they say 6 million moved. It was 2 30-year periods. So there was a first wave and a second wave, and that was 6 million people that moved out of the South across the country. My family was a part of that. But since 2000, and that happened over 60 to 70 years. Since 2000, 8 million, which is 2 million more than left the South, have moved back to the quote unquote South. So it's not that we're not moving to the South. We are actually moving to the South. There's multiple reports that come out, if not weekly, at least monthly. There's a new report about the reverse migration. And now the reports are starting to tell us to go to these larger states. They're telling us to leave Mississippi, where we have a 40% population, to go to a bigger state. So the reality is we are moving to the South. We're just not moving strategically. That is the problem. We're not moving for political power. We're moving to get a better job. And this is where the disconnect is, where we have to decide, I want to move not just for a job, not just so I can go from making 50,000 to making 70,000, but that I want to move so that my children can govern this state, quite literally. Because if we don't do that, if we do not make that decision collectively, we are going to be ruled over permanently by Asians, Mexicans, and Europeans. And to be very, very honest with you, these African diasporans, as they get their numbers up and they figure this shit out, they're going to start taking over states too. So we really gotta get on the ball here, to be quite honest. We gotta get on the ball with this.
Hey, Black. Have you read any of my have you read any of my chapters, like chapter 33? Where, well, chapter 32, I have my vision for the USA 2030, 2050, because I talk about that. Chapter 33, I talk about my vision for the USA Civil War II, 2076 to 2080. I have a vision for all this stuff, right? Chapter 31, look, Professor, I sent you my a flip book copy of my book. Chapter 31, I talk about the balkanization of the USA into racial regions of states. So I talk about all this stuff in my book, and I've been visioning this for at least 2008, 2009. So yeah, I have all this in my book. So what you're saying, it closely resembles my my book. So that's why I asked you, have you read my chapter 32 and chapter 33?
Yes, bro, I sure did, and thank you so much for sending that to me again, cause I think your breakdown of what we hit is where we headed to. I really do feel like that's what we headed to. That's where this country is. I don't know. It just seems like when you feel the climate of America right now, like with everything you talked about in that book right there, in that chapter, is exactly where we are right now, or at least is where we headed. And so let me so I think we're gonna have to, as a people, like Black Majority was just saying, is we're gonna have to hurry up. I don't think we have very much time. We're gonna have to hurry up and get into the larger states like North Carolina, Georgia. Well, let me see. We already in Georgia, but we still need to get some more people there. What else? South Carolina. We got a lot of our people there. Alabama, and yeah, right here in Alabama, which is where I'm at. We just got to get some more people in these areas, and I think we can really take over. If we can get our people to just say, "Hey, look, let me come on in." We still, and like Black Majority said, we do have a lot of people that have moved back this way, but we still got people that still want to stay out in places like California. And I hate to say it, California been taken over. California been taken over by the Hispanics and everybody else. Then you got people all out there in Colorado and what else? Washington. We got our people all over the damn place. So we just need to bring ourselves right on in. That way we can all be content.
Can I ask just a couple quick questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Like I'm just trying to see like who I'm who I'm talking to. Huh? Okay, now all right. Let's say that this dude has a homeland. Yeah, I understand that, but I'm trying to like what type of person I'm talking to. I'm trying to get a feel for your ideology. Okay. Okay. Now I'm asking this question for a reason. Let's say I'm gonna follow you down this rabbit hole, right? Let's say this do happen, and we convince 80% of Black Americans, 95% of Black Americans to move to Black majority state.
No, I don't want that. I want 80%, 20% of Black.
All right, 80, however many you want, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Let's say that. Okay, let's say we convince this 80%.
Right.
What happens to the rest of America?
What?
Okay. Do they also separate themselves into majority states? Like, do we have a white majority state, Asian majority state? How would that pan out?
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, in 2050, right, the white population is going to be around 42%.
Brother, that's not what I'm asking you, though, brother. That's not what
you have to understand it. You have to understand.
No, I just want to have a small answer, though, brother. Because I'm asking you this for a reason. Brother, I don't want you to go into. I'm asking, where do they go in the country? Where do they stay where they at? Do they mirror what we were saying?
Give them a chance to answer.
Oh, by the way,
we really don't give a fuck where the damn white folks go.
No, that ain't what I'm saying, brother. Well, then this ain't a real conversation, bro. This is some
I'm saying, Black homie, tell them what you need to tell them, man. Tell them what you need to tell them.
I answer your question, right? The Mexicans would take over the southwestern states.
Okay.
Black Americans would take over the southeastern states.
Okay.
Most of the white they will flee the southern states and they will move to the western states, the Rocky Mountain states,
okay.
the Midwest states,
going there.
and the northern states.
So they're gonna move to the Pacific Northwest, where it's a lot of them at Montana. They'll be out there, Montana, Idaho. They'll be up that way.
Wisconsin, Michigan.
We would take the South, right, where there's a lot of us already at.
Correct.
The Mexicans will take the Southwest,
correct,
where a lot of them are already at.
Right.
All right, now who will take the Northeast?
That's gonna be all white folks.
That's gonna be the white folks again. So even
look, they're gonna have a huge part now. So
they're gonna have the whole. Hold on. What I'm saying is this, brother. I don't want to go state by state because we taking over a whole part of the country.
Right.
So what you saying? They had a whole north and south. I mean, the whole northeast and south and west, northwest.
All right, sir. Now
in the east,
I'm almost done though, brother. I'm trying to get, huh?
Yeah, let me explain the difference. In the east, you have white liberals. That's always in the northeast. It's white liberals.
Okay.
It's a different ideology, but it is the liberal side of the country. In the west, it's the conservative Nazi flag wavers, and there is already something called the American Redoubt, which is a 5-state area, including Oregon, where they're trying to take counties out of Oregon and attach them to Idaho. So they're already in the process of establishing a 5-state white region in the Northwest that is already underway.
No, the reason why I asked this, and I was just trying to get a quick answer, right? So y'all are separatists.
No, I'm a supermajority population. I'm for a supermajority. I'm not.
No, what I mean is that you want to separate from them. You want to separate.
No, it's not separation. It's called supermajority population of several southern states.
No, okay, all right, but well, I mean,
there's a big difference. When you say separation, that means that you want to be totally separated from white people. We're not going to be totally separated.
I know nobody in the world going to be totally separated from white people. That ain't, all right. Listen, that'll turn into a whole nother conversation. Words have meaning type of conversation. All right, I'm just trying to understand what your ideology, because I heard Russell Spencer say the exact same thing. I'm talking about. That's why I asked that Richard Spencer, the white supremacist, Richard Spencer. I heard him say the exact. I'm talking about that's how I knew what you was going to say when Spencer was talking about Richard Spencer. He was talking about separate land. He was a separatist. He was talking about separate land for white America. That's the same thing that they talking about, bro. No, they're not. Hold on, wait. Listen to what I'm saying. Y'all triggered by me saying Richard Spencer. So now you triggered. Listen, he said the exact. He even got a map of it. Hold on, listen to what I'm talking about. Hold on, brother, calm down. He walks around with a map saying the exact same thing. He got a map of it, breaking it down with a map. That motherfucker is talking about a separate land for white American. That's it, white America. Did you just hear what he just said, brother? Did you listen to what he's saying? That is not what black women. Hold on, wait. Listen to what I'm saying. That's what he's talking about. No. Listen, brother. All right, bro. You trolling. You trolling. Let me tell you something. Okay, look at this. Me and Richard Spencer, we've been talking since 2013, 2014. I know. And Spencer don't know. He don't know. Look, when he saw my information, he was shocked that there was a black person that was talking about the same thing he was talking about. I know, Professor. Hey, man, you out the room for the night. Drop him as co-host. I know he's trolling. But in a way, we all sort of different because he sort of want a independent white country in the north,
in the Northwest. Now, I'm not advocating for a independent Black American country.
Why not? Unbelievable. Y'all unbelievable. Y'all unbelievable. That's not what you said. That's not what you said. That's not what you said, Professor. You don't know what you're talking about, brother.
He does it on purpose. He does it on purpose.
He
does it on purpose.
When you fall on your face, you resort to troll. Listen to me, bro. You were troll. You were troll. Seriously. Listen to what I'm saying. No, wait. I'm gonna take a look at it. I ain't gonna say I'm gonna read it. I will read it. No, I
send you a book. You got to read it, man. So you
don't send me a book, brother. Don't send me. I can't. I only read what I'm interested in. I'm not. Listen to what I'm saying. I feel like y'all trolling me. I told you about this. Is my first time me and you ever spoke. I said Richard Spencer said the same thing. And you said, yeah, I know. I've been talking to him. Professor talking gibberish. He talking gibberish. How you don't know this?
Hey, Black Majority, chime in, Black Majority, chime in, please.
How he don't already know this? He been talking to you and me, and you been talking like this. And he ain't heard you already. He ain't. Black Majority.
Okay. So yeah. So this. I understand there is a nuance there. Separatist and separatism is really categorized as like a radical, almost like a terroristic ideology, right? So the federal government looks at separatists. I think Black South, your mic is hot or something. It's making a lot of noise. Okay, so yeah, so the federal government looks at separatists as terrorists. That's how they see and view separatists. And this is why Black South, let me make sure I get this name right. Black Southern Strategy is making the distinction, because as a migrationist or a reverse migrationist or a super majority Black state individual, we're not allowing ourselves to be placed in a category as a terrorist would be placed into, or to be categorized by the federal government in a way that is intended to target us as some terroristic ideology. So that's the important distinction.
I know. That's why I said I don't want to go down that rabbit hole with them, because we'll get into a conversation like you just said. Words have meaning. We have to say the word right. So when I say separatist, I'm thinking that you already know what I'm saying. Y'all do know what I'm saying, because that's why you have to make the distinction. But you know what I mean when I say separatist. I mean the correct definition of the word, not the bastardized version that they trying to make it out to be. You want separation from another group of people. You want to separate. You want to separate yourself. When I remember I got fired from a job, I got a separation letter. We don't work together. If I divorce my wife, we separated. That's what you're trying to do. Right?
Yeah, I use.
I said I'm want to separate. I think the goal is congregate. We're going to congregate, not separate.
Concentrate. But I use the term deintegrate. I think.
Congregate is what I said.
That's when it becomes.
I use the term deintegrate because just the same way segregation was forced upon us, integration was forced upon us. And when you deintegrate, you are taking the action upon yourself. You are the person who's taking responsibility. You're performing the action. You're saying integration doesn't work for us, and we are reversing it. And so I use the term deintegration. Thank you.
Am I next?
Go ahead, Judge.
No. We have a hand up. We have a hand. We have Clout who has their hand up.
Oh, my bad. It's Clout. I thought Judge had her hand up too.
I don't know.
Oh, well, go ahead, Clout.
Cloud has their hand.
Yeah, I actually think Judge was first, so she can go ahead and go, and then I can go. I wanted to hear what she had to say.
They don't like me much. Just go ahead and let you go, Cloud. He not ready for me yet. So
Judge, go ahead. Cloud. Okay, so I got a question because I actually came up here when the gentleman was talking about like a second civil war. I just wanted him to kind of like elaborate on his premise of us needing a second civil war, and he's not talking about there being a separatist movement. If we understand the nuance between what happened during the first civil war, then we understand that states were wanting to secede from the Union, and that's the reason why we had this first civil war. So when you talk about this ideology of like the Republic of New Africa ideology of us reverse migrating back to the South, I'm just trying to figure out like, when you talk about a second civil war, can you just kind of elaborate on that? Because again, words do have meaning, and I think we kind of can't get you guys, when y'all have this talking point, we can't get you guys to really like double down on what you're saying. You want 44 million niggas to move to, but we can't get you to really like double down on what you're actually asking us to do. It's a lot of nuance and a lot of like, we can't get just a concrete answer on what you're actually trying to get us to do. So if you could just elaborate.
Okay, Judge, I think I sent you my book, correct? I sent you a flip book.
Hey, that wasn't the judge. That's Miss Clout. That's Miss Clout.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Miss Clout, did I send you my a flip book?
Well, I mean, I would like for you to elaborate on what's in your book. You're here. And then
right,
you
okay.
me the Bible.
Right. I think right. No. I was going to say you.
I would rather have a back and forth dialogue with you on an intellectual level while you're here, so that any type of read from your book, you'll be able to clarify that for everybody in the room, for the people who might not have the $22 buy your book. I'm just saying.
Okay. I was going to send you a flip book copy, a free flip book copy. But look, let me go over. Okay, you said something about Civil War II. Yes, in chapter 33, I have a title. It's titled "My Vision for the USA: Civil War II, 2076 to 2080." Now, look, I vision that by 2075. America is going to go into a deep recession, right?
I wish I could get the screen back to the actual screen, man. I don't want to end this thing, but I don't know how to do it. Dang it, bro.
We have our own party, and we have political
don't
control
go back
of 8 southern states. Okay, and the Mexicans have their 5 states, and they have their own political party. So you got 4 major political parties. You got 2 white political parties, 1 Hispanic, and 1 Black American political party. Okay, now the Democrat Party, they are still a very liberal party, right? And they're going to cause a lot of discomfort to the Republican Party. And so the Republican Party, they're going to call for a constitution. Constitutional convention of the states, right? And they're gonna ask. They want total abolishment of the federal government, right? But they're gonna lose that. They're gonna lose in that vote. That vote with the Republican Party losing that vote, they're gonna say, look, well, we're going to secede from the nation, from the United States. And that's when the Civil War II is going to break out in 2076. Now, in 2080, after 4 years of fighting, right, there's nothing coming to a conclusion. So now the 50 states going to try to figure out, how do we end this war? Because people getting killed, property getting damaged, the economy getting damaged. So there's a new convention of the states called in 2080, right? And now to change the Constitution, to ratify the Constitution, you need 38 out of 50 states. And what's going to happen because everybody is weary over the war, right? They want the war to end. They're going to vote favorable to abolish the federal government, and then the Republican Northwestern state, they're going to declare their sovereign independence first, and then the Democrat East side, they're going to declare independence, and then the Black American homeland, we're going to declare independence, and then the Mexican regional state, they're going to declare independence.
Okay. Let me clarify my question. This is kind of over the way over. It is way everywhere. So for me, I could see you saying, like, okay, we need attention on certain states so that we can gain the political influence when we send people to go to Washington first, right? Because we understand that it's the House and the Senate that creates laws. And then we understand that there are certain swing states via the Electoral College that. So I could see you saying, like, okay, we need to be more strategic in where we're living and where we're putting our political influence into certain states. But you just said randomly we need to move to 8 southern states, and that is going to cause, like, bro, you all over the place. You're all over the place. This is the reason why I'm confused. It's because y'all think that y'all can just get word and us from the government.
You're in the matrix, honey.
Hey, Cloud, I can't hear what you're saying.
You're in the matrix, honey. No one can understand you.
Cloud, are you having a barrel somewhere? Oh, Cloud, it's picking up a bunch of noise in the background.
Yeah, so I'm let me no hold on wait a second. I'm gonna answer the question that she asked initially. She's screaming a lot. There is background noise. So could you cut your mic? Everybody, please, like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna answer the question. She's screaming, which is a little abrasive. But it's an important question. I don't know what part of the country you live in, but I'm going to give you the specific states that we need Black Americans to move to gain political power. There are 2 states. This is going to make it very, very easy for you. The state of Delaware and the state of Mississippi. Those are the 2 states where we can become the majority population. The state of Delaware needs 300,000 Black Americans to move to that state. The state of Mississippi needs 600,000. And we need to spread out throughout the state of Mississippi because there's 80 counties and we need to control at least 50 of those counties. Now, I see the laughy emojis, and that's fine. You asked a question. I'm giving you the answer, and that is the only answer. There is no other answer, to be quite honest, because those are the 2 states that require the least of us. We have these maps. There's 8 states on these maps. Some of these maps have 10 states. That's a future projection, which is too big for some people to grasp the concept of very big, ambitious plans. I get it. So we've simplified it. We made it very, very simple for people who think very, very simply. Delaware and Mississippi. Those are the 2 states. If you live near those states and you want to be a part of it, make plans to move to one of those 2 states. But as the title says, we are not begging you to participate in uplifting Black America. If you choose to live anywhere else in this country, so be it. Just deal with the consequences of that and let your children deal with the consequences of that. For everybody else that wants to move because they are sick and tired of what is going on in this country, please prepare to move.
Am I next?
Judge, you are next. And let me say this, y'all. When we giving out information about what we need to be trying to do, this is serious business because we do need to be trying to make moves. If you're going to throw up these laughing emojis, then guess what? You're not doing yourself any good and you're not doing us any good. That means you're not really down with trying to help our people. That's how we look at that shit. I would say for the laughing emojis, remove yourself from the space. All right, Judge.
Okay, Black, are you there? Because I'm talking to Black. I come in peace.
Homeland or Black majority?
I'm talking to Black majority. And I come in peace, Black. Okay? And keep in mind, I want us to win. I want us to win. So, in my questions. So, earlier you spoke about Mississippi. And you said Mississippi was a majority Black. Is that what I heard properly from you, Black majority?
Mississippi has a 40% Black population. It is one of the closest states to a Black majority. However, because it is a larger state, it requires more population. Delaware can become a Black majority state with half of the required population for the state of Mississippi. So there is no Black majority state in this country, and there hasn't been for 150 plus years. That is intentional. That is why they ran us out of the South through domestic terrorist violence, because they didn't want us to have majority populations in these southern states. Today,
I understand.
Today we can correct it. Today we can reverse it and we can correct it.
I can appreciate. So, Black, I appreciate you telling me your agenda and your plans. What I'm going to ask you to do is, while we're having a conversation, that you listen to the questions that I'm asking and what I'm trying to figure out. And again, I come in peace, so therefore I want us to win. So when we talk about Mississippi, because I heard you say that, so Mississippi is the majority. Are you able to discuss how Mississippi is doing politically in terms of Black people, or what's going on in Mississippi with almost half the population is Black? That's my understanding. Are you able to discuss what goes on there politically, lifestyle? Because I understand that you have a goal about voting.
I will explain it. It is quite literal that and you may not have been in the space. White media services are writing entire news articles telling Black people to leave the state of Mississippi. Why would they do that? They are doing that because they realize that we are very close to being able to control that state. Why is the governor of Mississippi starting to create all of this legislation that people are calling Jim Crow 2.0? It's because they understand that we are very close to having control over that state. They know what's going on. White society understands what's going on. They're already calling themselves minority majorities. We're the ones who don't understand what's going on. We are the ones who don't yet get it. The Mexicans got it. They get it. They understand it. That's why they're taking over the Southwest. It's really not that complicated. We can remain integrated and we can remain permanent minorities, and we can keep complaining for the next 2,000 years, or we can do something about it. It's not fucking hard.
Let me tell y'all something. Okay, like that individual right there, right? Now, this is somebody that has been in all the Black majority spaces. We know she has. She knows about all of the information. Yet she comes up and asks the same goddamn question, and then tells Black majority that he needs to focus on the question that she's asking, which is something that he's already spoken about many times, and she's been coming up in the goddamn spaces. Okay, go ahead, DJ.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. I got the motherfucking weed, niggas. Real shit. Black State up. What's good? Black Majority State. Black American Homeland Professor. Everybody else in the chat. Hey, from now on out, here's what y'all gotta do. Stop talking about this shit and just let the work speak for itself. This is why you got your book, Black Majority, Black American Homeland. Start promoting that shit more. This is why I'm talking about that printer. We need to get our hands on that motherfucker. So that way we can let the work speak for itself. And we ain't got to repeat shit. You know what I'm saying? Because if your ass don't know how to read, you just don't get it. It's okay to ask questions and say, hey, look, I just don't understand, chapter 48, verse 2, section 5. All right, look, this is what it's about. And then if not, we ain't even given the grace to even explain that shit scientifically versus simplistically, then that means you don't want to learn and you don't care and you trolling. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, everybody ain't gonna make it doing this shit, yo. What's the percentage we looking for? Black majority. What is you said? 10%, 2%. That ain't everybody. You know what I'm saying? That ain't everybody. You know what I'm saying? So that's like earlier today. I'm in the store. I'm about to get this sandwich. This pastrami with the coleslaw and the shit. You know what I'm saying? I asked the sister, hey, you Negro American? She was like, yeah, but why I'm black though? I said, what's the difference? She said the other one, the racial term. I said, yeah, but that's what they classified us as. So I said, hey, you know what's going on with the Regulations Commission of the R&B? She said, nah, yeah, they about to reclassify your black ass. So what you want to be a Negro or some fucking shit they made? About right now? I just bugged out. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this shit is getting serious, man. So hit the sister, bang, here you go. Take this reparations DVD. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm doing. Pressing these shits up and just fucking flinging them like frisbees. Don't even matter no more. Don't even matter. Because like you said, black majority, our people don't understand. How the fuck a third world nigga that come away off the boat yesterday understands civics education better than a nigga that's banned for 100 years? That shit don't add up. And then we wonder why we complaining and losing all the fucking time and arguing with each other and shit. And just like you said, Professor, got people that be in this space, hear these comments, these commentary, this rhetoric, and still come in and ask a fucking redundant oxymoron question when you already know what the fuck the shit is. You know what I'm saying? And henceforth the name of the person, hey, that right there is a red flag, bro. You know what I'm saying? That right there is a red flag. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, red flag. We need to ramp up promoting what the fuck we're talking about. Fuck doing what the fuck we're talking about. We need to promote it because at the end of the day, we don't have people on board with not only black state, reparations, immigration, CPS issues, fucking entertainment issues. Our people is not on board because they can just get a job. They can just go get a job, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It be done. You know what I'm saying? And let it be for what the fuck it is. Because niggas don't really care at the end of the fucking day. Anyway, this shit, this is Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. You only gonna find a hop, skip, and the jump of a nigga head, a motherfucking broad head that really help you out with this shit. You know what I mean? And that's really body with this motherfucking shit. Everybody else, get on the bench, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too much cloud chasing out with this motherfucker. I live there, yo.
Well, I never finished. Like, are you gonna talk to me and we're gonna have a real conversation, or we're gonna be in here being? I'm with you. I rock with you. You know that. So
thank you, DJ, for that talking point, bro.
You know the conversation is about winning. So I'm asking you about Mississippi for specific reasons. You don't need to get the fence up.
Hey, this woman right here is an annoyance to the space. And
Black, are you going to answer the question or no? If Black, if you don't want me here, I can leave. You know that.
You coming up in these spaces and you're disturbing the peace.
I was talking about the but you know, I'm for us winning. So if you want me to leave, Black, you know I'll step off.
Look, I don't want you to leave.
Other black. Yeah, I'm so sorry you get caught up in the crossfire of the Black. But I'm trying to walk him through. He talked about Mississippi, and the thing is, I want Black to win, and so I'm in here being strategic. And not everybody in the family understands about getting together and brainstorming and coming up with ideas together. They're concerned about looking bad or being embarrassed, so they're not speaking freely. But Black, if you want to talk about it, Black majority said 40%. So what you do, sir, if you look at what you have in the realm in which you want, you see what they're doing wrong. And that's why I want to discuss Mississippi, because we can see what's going on in Mississippi to determine how to create the Black majority in Delaware. That's how you figure things out, and you do things, you plan them, and you look at them by looking around you and what you're doing. So most people in this room know I'm here for Black people. That's why I'm here. And I'm a value. I'm an asset. You know, you see that video going around about how they take the girls, the Black people out the hood, and the Republicans and the Democrats argue with what to do and how to do. I'm that nigga they took out the fucking ghetto. Okay? But the thing is, you're not supposed to resent me.
Senior representatives took over Southern legislators and kicked us out.
Why they went in and we're not. So
Did
we
not
can talk
make
about
most
it.
of
We
those
cannot
states
talk about it.
richer.
I always have other things to do.
The ones who did are
Hey,
anonymous.
Judge, did I send? I thought I sent you a flip book copy of my work. Did you get that?
I did not. How did I receive it? You know what, honey? I talked to 99 different people. Did you not have a conversation that I don't remember or something?
No. This is what happened. Look, this is Black American Homeland. I promised. Look, 3 months ago, I promised that people that been coming on our space, I promised to give everybody a flip book copy of my book, and I gave out 100 already.
Is the flip book the actual book, or is just a summary?
It's 54,000 words. It's 35 chapters. Everything.
Oh, you giving away the whole book?
No, yeah, it's a flip book copy.
Mm-hmm. How did I receive it via Twitter?
Well, no, it's not through that. I will get it to you. Just give me 4 hours. I will get it to
whenever
you.
You can. I'm gonna be here. So, are you on the same plans with Black majority?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, okay. All right. I have a different.
We're family, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna win together. We all can have a different agenda, and we can all still win. I promise you.
Okay. Okay. The only difference between Black majority and myself is that I advocate for the 8-state Southern region, and Black, you know, his two most important states are Delaware and Mississippi. That's the only difference. And you know, that's the only difference. I believe the 8-state Southern region, which is North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee.
And so what I want to know is what your well, I guess you have maybe 3 or 4. What is your primary objective? So what it would be called, Black? It would call it's your mission statement, or your mission statement.
Yeah, our mission statement is
it's a summary. It's something. It's a goal you're trying to achieve. What exactly?
Right.
Oh my God! This woman coming up there trying to talk down to people.
Our mission is to
Okay.
Girl's hair in the class. He got a crush on me, so he don't know how to act.
Everybody got no goddamn question on you. Goddamn, look, Judge, you wish you.
I don't know how to control him. I don't know what to do about him. But go ahead.
Y'all didn't get to it. I
don't get to it. I'm a lady. Okay. Go ahead.
You count to 10 and go back down to listener, okay? Shit.
Go ahead, Brad. He got to he gonna do that. That's what he did.
Yeah, Judge, our mission is to take supermajority and political control of a continuous region of states. That's the 8-state Southern region. That's our main goal, to take supermajority of those states. Between 67% to 80%. That's what we need.
And I understand that. And so what I understand that you're saying, one of the main focuses that you two are talking about is population. And that's only one aspect of it, okay? With the population, it's something that you want to achieve. Your goal must be to have a better life, to live in harmony, right? So with the whole idea is you're improving your place in life, or your standard of living, or so forth. That's the goal. That's the goal?
the goal is to take over these states. We take over the government, the state legislature. We take over the police department. We take over the educational system. We take over the court system. We take over the state Supreme Court. We take over the National Guards and the state
it's government and some private sectors, basically, right?
Also, we take over public. We take over public utility companies. We take over the bank.
Can I ask you? I hate to interrupt you, but I want to get this further clarity. When you say take over, does that mean that Black people are employed in those positions, or how are you defining take over?
That Black Americans, we are the CEOs, we are the owners of all those institutions and corporations and public utility companies. Yeah. And this court system.
And that's going to be through. So the question I'm asking, because Black's not going to answer me because he thinks I'm trying to be sarcastic or something. I'm feeling some kind of way right now, Black majority, but I'm going to keep moving. Anyway, I'm trying to get at what you want. So what happens, sir, when you want something, you have to clearly define it. You have to lay out what you want and how to get there. And that's how you
get it.
And I don't need to be, I know sometimes my attitude may sound condescending or I come off like in some kind of way. And if I do, it's my apologies to everybody in the room. You want to know who I am. You want to know me. I love Black people. And that's why I'm in this room. A Black majority, I think what he wants is a good idea. But what I want to focus on what's the takeaway? How do we win? What are we getting from doing this effort? So how and knowing that, and you can define that, it's a high probability that you get more people to go. So what happens is, if you want, say, 100,000 people to move to Delaware, what's going to be their reasoning for going? People do things for reasons. If there's some benefits, you can get them there. Not only can you get them there,
to take Black majority state. To take Black majority state. That is the reason.
Okay, I'm with it. And you know what? Black
Judge, you right. Incentive. We have incentive for Black people.
You and I can talk one-on-one, sweetie. They don't want to hear me. So I'm going to fall back. I love you and I appreciate you. DJ, I'm going to be looking for you probably about 3 or 4 hours, feeling nice and want to get in space. You're going to be available. You're going to be out here, DJ? I'm going to come back a couple hours looking for you, just to let you know, baby sister in trouble. So I'm going, because y'all don't want to talk to me. I'm getting my phone turned, so I'm going to fall back. But I'll be back in a couple hours when everybody's feeling nice. All right?
Yeah. Hey, Judge, I will send you my flip book.
We're going to talk about it, honey. We're going to talk about it. And I hope you get where you need to go.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I'm a winner. Have you figured that out yet?
Yes. You've been on that space many times.
Sister Trevor and DJ, please.
Leave me, y'all. Bye.
Yeah, hang up. Judge, go ahead. Pick up the phone.
One thing I noticed, when you have a comprehensive plan, right? When you let everybody know your plan, you're going to have criticism from millions of people. Mm-hmm. And I'm used to that because I've been hearing criticism since I first put this on Twitter in 2013. So I'm used to the criticism. I had people like Omar Johnson telling me that, if Black Americans move to the South, they're going to bomb the place. They're going to use nuclear weapons and bomb the place. I had people like, what's that lady from Yvette Carnell saying things. I had all those people saying things to me. Yvette Carnell, she blocked me because she think the best, she has her idea with the reparation on the federal level. And I told her that, look, if Black Americans can take supermajority and political control of several states, we can pass reparation, or what I call it, recompense laws on the state level. And then our reparation law would be extremely comprehensive because we will also add in land, farmland, property, advantages for Black-owned corporations and businesses. We, if you are a business, we'll make sure that you get state government contracts. You know, we're going to make sure that 80% of the state government contract go to Black-owned corporations and businesses. Look, our plan is extremely comprehensive. Look, you know the universities within these states like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, those will become predominantly Black university because we're going to mandate that these flagship universities are mirror the population of the state. So there's a lot of things we can do when we take political control of the state, and it's all in my book. It's 54,000 words. It's 35 titles, and I'm sorry, 35 chapters. I'm sorry, and actually, my book is already ranked like #1 new release in a few categories. So I was shocked to see that. So yeah, I mean, we can do something. I mean, people want to hear what I have to say. I've been putting this on the, I've been putting this, away for about.
I'm kind of done with that
5
conversation
years.
because I've given enough
What's his
energy
name?
to.
Charles Blow. I gave him information back in 2015, and then he came up with his book, The Devil You Know. And, that's okay that, he took my idea and he ran with it. And his book was a bestseller on the
Mackie on fire.
New York Times bestseller.
Mackie on fire, man. I need a bell or
But
something.
That's okay.
I need a bell because Mackie
we
is
know why
on
they call
fire
him
up in
Charles
here.
Blow. But anyway, I digress, family. I digress.
That man on fire.
Yeah.
Mackie up in here on fire, bro. You on fire, bro.
DJ, you be next after her.
You on fire, and I don't know why my screen is frozen over here.
Up for a while. Go ahead,
I
brother.
cannot see the screen in real time, and I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to fix it. All I did was hit the back button, and then I got to this screen. Damn it, bro. I don't know how to get the screen back.
DJ, you want to go?
It don't matter to me, but since hit me with the Uno reverse card, I got it, I guess. So again, drop my damn lighter. So again, at the end of the damn day, we just got to stop talking, fellas and ladies, and just go out here and do this motherfucking work. Every day I'm out here talking to people and shit. Hey, yo, take this DVD with you. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think. But another thing on top of that is honestly getting people to understand
that up in the chat.
That's just a whole nother subject. This is why we had these spaces up here, but a lot of y'all don't be coming up here and coming into these rooms. Y'all go into the entertainment rooms and the clout rooms and all the other fucking rooms and the bullshit rooms that ain't got shit to do with shit. You know what I'm saying? But the moment you ain't got nothing to do because there ain't shit popping in those rooms, you come over here to this room and try to hit us with the motherfucking trolley rolling and shit. Nobody want to hear that. Y'all need to have your asses here 8:30 every Saturday.
Oh, man.
8:30 every Saturday. I don't care if you come in the room on time or you come in this fucking shit in the middle of the fucking space. Just have some understanding and some decorum about what the hell's going on. Because if we keep repeating ourselves every damn Saturday to every new person that want to come up here or ask a question about Black State of America, we ain't gonna never take Black State of America. You know what I mean? So with that being said, too, we ain't getting no reparations without state power, yo. End of story, yo. A lot of the folks up here that got the smoke for the Black State of America don't even live on the East Coast. You feel what I'm saying? Let's get that clear first of all. Other thing is too, yeah, you're gonna have the ones folks that are in the South, whether be, don't matter what state it's in. Yeah, they're gonna have a problem with folks coming back and forth. But even they don't even understand that we've been coming back and forth already. We live on I-95. You know what I'm saying? This is not new. This is not even new information and shit. Black people have been migrating up and down I-95 forever, yo. You know what I'm saying? I probably got more cousins in Baltimore that I don't know. I probably got more cousins somewhere in Virginia that I don't know. I probably got some cousins up in Buffalo that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be logical about this shit. Family split up, went different ways, moved different places. My aunt told me a while ago I might have some Native American in my family and shit. that wound up going towards Buffalo. Speaking of that, probably went even further to Canada. Shit, never know. Your fucking family could have been the niggas that fled the plantation, went north to Canada and started hockey, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know that and shit if you live on another part of the fucking hemisphere. You know what I'm saying? So the ideas sound stupid. We don't have these ideas, and the ones that's coming from, you know, that it sounds stupid don't live nowhere near I-95. So that's the problem. So I think with Black Majority and Black American Homeland should start focusing on Black Southern strategy and state power, restructure everything to try to target motherfuckers that live on the East Coast. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Trump.
That is the plan.
Word. Shout out to everybody up in the cut. Hey, to the host, the co-host.
Shout out, Trevor. Shout out, DJ. These are two of my faves, y'all. So I fuck with them. You know, that's why you hear me talking shit to them. These are two of my faves right here. And
everybody, whatever.
Well, whatever. Yeah, and the boy Black Majority up there. You know him, Black Majority State right there, and of course Black Majority Homeland. So go ahead, Trevor. Lay down some of that funk you about to lay down on us.
You know, I ain't gonna lay down a whole lot of funk. Matter of fact, I might fuck around and say something you ain't like. But I gotta give
People
DJ a little bit of pushback
they just
because
be
what
talking.
you want
They don't
is
know
for
what the
new
fuck they
people to
talking
continually
about.
come into the space every week,
They
whether
just be
they've been here
talking,
for the first
man.
time or whether they've been here every week.
Jeez.
Because you want people to learn what's going on with the Black Majority State.
Not the trolls, though. Keep the trolls.
Yeah, not the trolls, but you want
that's
people.
my record fault. Or towards the trolls.
Right, but you want people to come in and to learn and to know what's going on, what's it about, at least put a bug in their ear about it. And even if they trolling or don't agree with it, even trolls go back and talk to somebody else who might have some kind of common sense who could tell them, you know what, actually that's not a bad idea. Why you talking shit? You know, so hey, each one teach one. You know, we all got to come and get some knowledge at some point in time. I always have agreed with the Black Majority State from the first time that I heard about it. I'm, you know, not new to coming into these spaces, but I'm new to the thought process of what Black has presented. And so automatically it was something that I understood. It's nothing that's hard to understand. People really choose not to understand because it looked too much like work. And let's be honest, we are stick-neck people. We don't like to move until we are actually moved.
It's algebra, Spanish. Spanish 3, Black State of America.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when it comes to our people, a lot of times, even when it comes to the things that go on in our communities, we don't think to protest or go into these government meetings or our local city meetings and stuff until it really starts to hit home. And so, of course, you're going to get pushback on this Black Majority State move and it's not a hard concept. It's a real easy concept because if people think about it right now, you living in a majority white state rule. You might be living in a majority Hispanic state rule where they have so many of their people running the government and controlling your local towns and cities and states till every piece of funding that comes through is not going to the Black community. Well, why you think that is? Because you living in a white majority ran state. So why is it so hard to conceptualize what a Black majority state would look like? Why is that so hard? It's not a hard thought. People just don't like to do the hard things. And so when I said that I'm probably going to say something that you don't like, here it is. Mute your mic, DJ. I see you about ready to bounce.
Oh, my bad.
So because we are a stick-neck group of people who don't like to move until the shit hits the goddamn fan.
Ain't that the truth,
it might be who you are, and I'm not saying not to talk about it. You're going to have to continually talk about it. I love what you do with your spaces every weekend. But now you're going to have to start looking for people who are actually willing to make this move, investors who can probably invest in some lands within these states to make it happen. Because sometimes with our people, we don't see that these things are possible until we actually see that there are some things, some infrastructure that we have to leave our home that we're so comfortable in. We don't want to leave the comfort of our homes in our states that we know is screwed up. But it's hard to think about moving to a place like Mississippi where we're constantly hearing about all of the bad things going on. It's hard to move to a state like South Carolina where we've always heard how slow they are and how behind in the times they are and all of these different things. So it has to be shown and presented to our people in a different manner so that they conceptualize it, so that they can see it in their minds that it's not a bad thing. We need people that can actually start investing in land and begin to say, okay, my people, here's what we have set forth so that you all can start making this move. There'll be places for you to come, jobs for you to work, because these are the overall goals. You know, you have people like, let me not say their names because we already know who they are. They come in and they do the whole naysaying thing and they want to be contrarian for the hell of being contrarian. It's not helpful. You know, and sometimes it makes me feel when I hear certain things coming from certain people like, well, damn, what they gonna have to do? Drop a bomb on us again?
That's what I was saying, son. See what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? You know, what they gonna have to do? Drop a bomb on us? For us to see what time it is. I mean, a lot of people really didn't recognize what time it is until they seen what was going on with George Floyd. Then the whole world got involved. Now everybody is starting to look at certain aspects of their community and how it's run. Certain people had to see, because when I've been telling my people around here a long time about all of the takeovers of our neighborhood, nobody was listening. So now when you look in my community and you see the majority, a lot of people who's moving in is nothing but Hispanics, now you're starting to get it. When you go up the road and you realize that all of the new businesses that has been moving into your communities is there's an African store, convenience store. Okay, people didn't think that there was Africans here in the South. News flash. You may not see them all out in traffic all the time, but baby, they here. Go up to the African spot. They got a liquor store, they got a convenience store, and they're planning on moving into the parking center and a new building over there. You see a new Arabs popping up every day, or Indians or whatever the hell they are. You know, so sometimes people really have to visualize what it is that you're saying to them in order for them to get it. I just sometimes feel like our people just waiting on the bomb to drop on them again.
You know,
and they're not really going to see it until it's too late.
That's really
but
what
at
it
that
is.
point, we know it's going to be too late. So those of us who are of like mind
ring the bell
and know what's coming and know what needs to be done, we need to start getting our investors and linking up and putting money towards this move that we know is inevitable, because we know inevitably that we're going to need these supermajority black-run states in order for us to get anything done for our people, period. I'm going to land on that. I'll come back because I got to get this work, but I'm listening.
Amen, 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 man. That is absolutely accurate to the fullest extent.
Yeah, what Trouble said. You feel what I'm saying, son? That's what I was saying, son.
Thank you, Trevor. Brother Muko, and as another one of the brothers up in this space, glad to see you came back, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Professor? And everybody in the space. No taxation.
Be more qualified.
That's what it was. He was trying to enforce a quarantine, and these motherfuckers said, no, sirree. This
you
is
name it. I just want to pick up on what Trouble was saying. Yeah, you know, it's all about the codified action and actually making a move to these black majority states. And the same way she was talking about the black majority states is the same way that I'll be talking about justice. You know what I'm saying? I know I don't like to talk to my girl when she ain't that head to speak on it. But when Miss T had asked me a couple days ago in the space, that justice seemed ingenuous, you know, like guaranteeing that no one gets mistreated, and guaranteeing that when whoever needs constructive help, they get the most constructive help. And she was saying that was kind of, you know, ingenuous to you know, even say that. But, you know, like the theory with the black majority state and actually putting that into action, I could see how some of some individuals would say, that's not going to work. You know, I can see it and I understand it. But it doesn't mean that it's not possible. And it doesn't mean that it wouldn't work. It actually would work. But just like that would work, we got to work that meaning of justice and being true with our words. I mean, being laser beam like surgeons with our words. Because, see, the thing about our words and them being important, the black back off of what Black Majority said earlier, yeah, our words manifest things. They do. They definitely do. They bring things into manifestation and the actual being. But those words don't do that unless it's something very important that comes after that, and that's constructive action. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was my point that I was trying to drive to. I think that's the only point that I wanted to make. I know I was in a space earlier, and I kind of got interrupted by the baby and everything else. But I just think we need to constantly remind ourselves what the meaning of justice is, because again, Google, Wikipedia, none of them have a meaning for justice. And so when we're talking about justice, and that's what we're talking about with this repair, even moving to these Black majority states, that is reparations, that is repair.
Absolutely.
My man, he's not in space anymore. Tank, earlier, he alluded to something about us getting psychologically straight. You know, a lot of us defeat ourselves mentally before we even get in the fucking race. You know what I'm saying? And I see that a lot when we talk about these Black majority states. When we talk about anything that's hard to talk about without being emotional about it. Like when me and Black majority state was saying, and the other group and DJ, matter of fact, when it was just 5 of us in the space all night, we were talking about the things that come along with a Black majority state, like your own department of public services or social services. I'm sorry, not public services, social services. You know what I'm saying? Your own department of employment and unemployment. You know, these things we're going to have to know how to work the infrastructure of a city, how to filtrate the water. You know what I'm saying? How to purify the water. We're going to have to know how to run the electrical grids, how to read them shits. We're going to have to know every aspect of running a city. You know what I'm saying? Not just having some stores and selling some shit. You know what I'm saying? But actually operating a whole fucking city. You know what I'm saying? A power plant. You know what I'm saying? You got to know the first thing about engineering, knowing when your bridge is going bad, knowing when it's even safe to use or not use a bridge. You know what I'm saying? Little shit like that we take for granted every day. So I want us to start concentrating on the hard shit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about because you've been miseducated. There's a lot of miseducation, and it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We're trying to actually get everybody up to speed, but there's a lot of miseducation. And we all understand why we echoing.
Somebody got to fix that mic.
Good evening, my fellow people. What I was gonna say is,
hold on. One second. Brother Moko, were you finished speaking?
No, I wasn't, but I'll land real quick before my brother Righteous goes.
My bad, brother. Go ahead. Keep on. I'm sorry.
No, you okay, brother? Because I don't like to overcook it. You know what I'm saying? I like to leave it a little bit tender so you can eat it after it's done. You feel me? Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna piggyback. I was gonna piggyback off of what you said. Somebody made a tweet the other day that was talking about, and it was kind of like they had the feeling of the sky is falling. Okay, so we have, if you really look at it, we have all of these HBCUs that are developing doctors, lawyers, engineers, psychologists, all of these different skill sets, as well as the trades. So when you're saying all of these people, black people that are coming out of these colleges would benefit black cities or black states, and we could actually build the infrastructure. But nobody, like you said, like the sister was saying, trouble, nobody wants to do the work. Everybody wants to lend their talents to these white corporations and then, work 30 or 40 years for these companies and get the gold watch at the end of the day, when you can actually take your talents to a smaller black city and run the power plants, teach engineering, get younger kids involved. See, when I was coming up in school, we had trade school. You had a choice to either go to college or go to trade school. Well, I chose both because I wanted to balance it out and have both sides, both aspects of it. So I learned how to do drafting. I learned how to do machining.
Nice.
I learned how to work on cars.
Nice.
These are things that we, as black people, we can start businesses, our own black-owned businesses, and create a generational wealth. That was what Black Wall Street was about. But nobody cares about that anymore. The only thing people care about, or young people, when I talk to young people, the only thing they care about is either dribbling a fucking basketball or being a rapper. Nobody cares about politics. Nobody cares about the infrastructure of their community. All they care about is getting to the bag. Well, I'm asking them, how do you think you're going to get to the bag? There's only a certain 1% chance that you're going to actually make it to the NFL, the NBA, the hockey league, soccer league, or whatever league you want to be in. You need to have some kind of trade. Not everybody can go to college. Not everybody is made for college. But at least find a trade that you're passionate about and you can give back to the community and you can build and make money. But that was my comment. I love everybody. I love what y'all doing. If y'all want to build, or we can build, or got a project or something, shoot me a DM and we can see how we can make it work. Peace and blessings. Can I respond to him?
Goodness gracious. Why does she keep getting up here? Why do they keep letting her up here?
Why y'all
want to silence me? I wanted to
we want to hear from people that's going to talk blackness. Okay, but
may I respond to the gentleman, please?
Hey, how you doing?
Are you okay with responding to you, Righteous? They scared of me, Righteous. So don't be scared.
You can go ahead.
I'm here for
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disrupt the space. I'm sorry. I apologize. My apologies.
I'm going to respond to what you said. And I think it's important that I do. What I heard you.
Go ahead, Jazz. I'll let you go first.
You said doctors. I'm responding to what he said. If you don't mind, I hope it's okay. What I heard you say, Righteous, was I'm responding to what you said. My somebody came to me. This is how you have a dialogue, and this is how you grow. So if you guys, I always have to come fight you, but I love you and your work, so I will. Anyway,
somebody got to mute their mic, man.
Righteous, you want to mute your mic so I can respond to you, doll. So what you said was early on, you began with, come on, y'all, stop muting me, please. Please.
I don't know who's doing
what I heard you say, brother. What I heard you, brother. No, someone is, but it's okay because I love y'all, and I'll fight you. I will fight you because I love you. Righteous, you said again. Someone keeps muting me. Righteous, they scared of me, and unfortunately, if you think about people like Malcolm X, the leaders, they always had this kind of opposition. We make them what you don't know, you're afraid of. I'm a leader. I'm not a follower. And I know it in order for, I get it. Just if you know about leaders, this is how it always like that.
Hey, Righteous, don't listen to this right here now. Don't listen to the judge.
Anyway, oh my God. Come on, y'all. Let me ask what he said. I want to say what he just said, bro. Anyway, Righteous, you said that there was professional black people. Then you said nobody want to do work. And bro, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to ask you very politely. You keep talking about, you said something about black people want to be basketball players and rappers. And that makes me want to throw up when people say that. That is not true. And if that's your circle of influence, sir, you might want to find some another influence. You began with saying they're black professionals. And you're saying they don't want to do the work. They will do the work. They will come. You have to create the infrastructure. And that's why I keep trying to discuss this goal of having a black majority. How are you going to get them there? Who do you want there? What is the benefit of going there? I'm tired of fighting y'all, like for real, for real. Whoever keep muting me, you foul. I'm going to fall back like this. They scared of me, but it's all good.
Judge, ain't nobody scared of you, baby, and nobody is.
All right, Trouble. Okay, Trouble.
Muted, and my mic is not muted, so you're not being muted. Come on, sister, don't do that. Just if you got something to say it, but don't try to make it seem like you're being muted because you're not.
I was being muted, Trouble.
What if you must be muting yourself?
Okay, so let me ask you something, Trouble. Why you want beef with me? You got beef with me too, sis?
No, I don't have beef with you, but you invoked my name earlier when you didn't have to.
There she goes.
I said, hey, Trouble, I'll see you later. Relax. Go ahead.
You gotta be on my
All
level.
you gotta do is let a nigga shoot himself in the foot. You ain't even gotta say nothing.
Let it play out. Trouble, what I said was, I'll see you guys later tonight. Late night. Why you got beef with me?
You're not gonna see me though.
We gonna be asleep, man. We trying to get our rest in, man. We getting older, man. No,
Okay, Trouble. Okay.
you ain't got no time for the bullshit.
Okay, so Trouble, my beef is with the discussion I'm having. You want to have discussion with me? You want to have Yeah, I know. Don't be scared. You can only learn.
See, yeah, she muted herself. Still talking. Hey, see, that's your phone. That's the iPhone 55, yo. That's the iPhone.
Yeah, we got to understand the judge is a judge and she is something else. But anyway, Brother Muko.
Yeah. That's what the AI muted your mic, yo. They said you're a bot.
Right. DJ, stop muting me. Stop muting me, DJ. You ain't even a host. Stop muting me, DJ. Anyway.
I do not got control of the mix. You know what I'm saying? Tonight. You know what I mean? Maybe later on tonight, but not tonight.
Right. I'm so surprised I didn't lose my train of thought, so I must be getting better with focusing. But to your point, Righteous, brother, I definitely agree. And that was just going to segue into the point that I was going to end with, or land my plane with. And you kind of did it for me, so thanks for helping me there. I was just going to say, with telling ourselves the truth, and not being emotional about it, we have to stop repeating lies that were told to us, okay? Because the lies that were told to us by the individuals that look like us was not deliberate, okay? White supremacy survives off of confusing the victims. About what, Brother Muko? About every goddamn thing you know. Notice I didn't say everything you think you know. It confuses you about everything you know, even down to your fucking gender, okay? White supremacy will actually have you believing that two men and two women can be sexual. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. And I ain't got to go into the details because everybody already know. I explained and everybody heard it in detail here about the possibility of an offspring. So we got to be really serious with the words that we use. And as far as taking over a system that's already corrupt and flawed, I still stand 10 toes down, even though my brother and I, we feel we definitely have the same goal in mind, and I'm talking about Black Majority State. We feel a little differently on this point, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not supposed to agree, and we're not supposed to disagree. What we're supposed to do is come up with the best solutions, the best, absolute best solutions to rid ourselves of the system of racism, white supremacy. And white supremacy, I want to explain something about white supremacy real quick, and I'm going to land with this. You know, I have an uncle. I have a few uncles left, and I'm blessed to have a few uncles left. I have a few younger uncles, younger than me. And the older uncles that I have left, they have a problem with that word supreme and white. You know what I'm saying? They have a problem with the truth. All that white supremacy means, white supreme, means positioning. That's it. Okay? I want all of us to get that in our heads. It's not saying that no white people are better than us in any kind of way. They are in a better position. And what position is that, Brother Lugo? That is the position of supreme. Okay? That is the position of supreme. Look, I don't feel good saying this shit to none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel good with this shit coming out my mouth. I don't feel good telling my children this. But you know what? We gotta tell the truth in order to change what's true into something else. Better, more true. And that's justice. You know what I'm saying? So I want us to all get in the habit of every morning when we waking up, whatever you do, brush your teeth, wash your ass, or whatever one you do first, when you get in the mirror, make part of your affirmations saying what the meaning of justice is and repeating it and keeping it in the forefront of your mind, especially while we're in this fight for our taking of our reparations, our repair. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to understand that with this repair, what comes immediately after is what's more important than anything. And I'm talking about immediately after, because what comes immediately after is what we're setting a trend for the unborn that we will never even meet. Okay? I do this for my children, and I do this for my children's 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 children who might not even know my fucking name. You know what I'm saying? That's who I do it for. And I do it for y'all's too. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at each and every one of y'all children and is mine, my own. And I love them. I ain't even got to know them. I ain't never even got to set eyesight on them. But I love them. And I'm going to die for them. Willingly. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going down and I'm not bowing down. I'm going to make sure, to the best of my ability, that this thing called justice that a lot of people doubt, and look, if you doubt it, I don't feel no different about you. I still love you. You know what I'm saying? Just because you doubt it and I don't doubt it, that just means you don't believe that it's going to happen, and I trust that it's going to happen. And that's two different things, because in order for you to believe something, a lie has to be in place, and you have to not know it. That's the only thing that qualifies a belief, for you not to know it. If you know something, you cannot believe it. And if you don't believe me, try it. Just try it. It won't happen. And if it does happen, and you're clearly confused about what racism, white supremacy is, see how this go back in a circle? All this shit go in a circle. We are not stupid by far. We are intelligent. We are intelligent because we were blessed with something called logic. We got a motherfucker in here named Professor. You get me? We got another woman in here by the name of No Taxation. Who the fuck gonna name themselves something like that if they don't know what the fuck they doing? So I'm gonna land there. I love all y'all, and I know we are gonna create this system of justice. Because we gonna guarantee it. See, I got faith in Black Majority State and Professor and DJ and Trouble. And even though Judge be on her, she ain't take her meds yet. I got faith in her too. You feel what I'm saying? I had faith, but not only faith, I had trust in y'all. I trust that we can make this system of justice. I trust that we can guarantee that no one ever will be mistreated. Ever. We can make mistreatment a myth. I trust that we can do that. I got total trust in y'all. And some people might say I'm stupid for that. Oh well. Oh well. Somebody gotta be we stupid.
They
You know what I'm saying? Everybody got put in a position, right? They stupid is my position. That's my position. But I know that we can make this system of justice happen. We can together, not individually and collectively. Because see, what we can't forget is our individual part in this. You know what I'm saying? All of us got to be on code individually, especially when it ain't nobody around. That's the most important time. So I'm going to land there because I know I went over my time. And thank you, Brother Righteous, for bringing me into my lane. And now I crash my plane.
Awesome. I'm going to the Jumbotron. This is from Yale, Insights, Yale.edu, a study where they find twice as many undocumented immigrants as previous estimates. Twice as many. The poster says easily 26 to 30 million illegals. I think the number that has been floated is somewhere above 10 million, so that certainly does put it around 20 million at the very least. Oh man, the Tennessean Justins. For those who are new in the space, we kind of touched on these two Justin elected officials in Tennessee and all of the things that are coming out about them after they were expelled from Tennessee government. And, you know, I was in a space where they talked about how they used to be political activists in the area. They used to protest a lot. And so they got elected and then they decided they were going to protest or join a protest about gun rights and to try to eliminate guns. And I think it was spurned by the transgender male, female who went into that school and killed 6 people, I believe. And so a lot of interesting information has been coming out about these particular gentlemen. There was a picture of them walking down a staircase, holding each other's arms, which looked a little interesting. And then in front of them was a member of Narcan and Cobra on his cell phone. And so there's been a lot of very interesting pictures and videos. And I know one of the videos, the guy with the afro essentially said that Jesus died on the cross for LGBTQ issues. So there's a lot to digest with these particular individuals. But I'm gonna say it like this: Tennessee is a super majority white state. It's a Confederate state. It's very racist. It's their state, quite literally. They own and control that state. And we are so far away from being anywhere close to having enough population in that state. I suggested in my book, I suggested in my music, we need to abandon these states. Tennessee is a state. I know it's on Black American Homeland's map. It is on our map as a future overgrowth state. However, today, currently, it is a state that I feel we should abandon, quite literally. There is nothing in the state of Tennessee for Black Americans but pain, suffering, and oppression. There are enough people in the state of Tennessee to take over the state of Delaware, where they could instantly change their political, economic position overnight, quite literally. So the question, again, always comes back to, do we want to simply sit where we are and complain and be oppressed, or do we want to move to change our situation? I iterated stories of our ancestors who, in the winter of 1890 something, waiting on trains in the middle of a blizzard in South Carolina, waiting on trains to come to take them out west. The trains never showed up, and they literally walked from South Carolina out to Kansas or Oklahoma or somewhere in the Midwest, a walk that would have took weeks to perform in the middle of winter. It was a different breed. They were different. They weren't comfortable. They weren't, you know, coddled by electronic devices and creature comforts that we have today. And so they were willing to do whatever it took for for us, quite literally for us. We only exist because they were willing to sacrifice everything. And unfortunately, you know, shout out to Tank Commander. He was in a space earlier. He hit on the term sacrifice. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. So many of our people are unwilling to sacrifice, and that is likely why things won't change, unfortunately. We think 1% is all we need to take over Delaware. I will spend the rest of my life trying to make that happen. If I can get the 1% to make that state change, hopefully it becomes a catalyst for the other states. But it may not. It may just be a thing where it becomes this anomaly where we're just there and we can empower and protect our people, and people come in and they visit and they go right back to the oppression. I don't know. I don't understand it at this point. I'm tired of complaining, tired of seeing these news reports that are just becoming daily at this point. I mean, daily they're shooting down some black individual in this country, shooting in the back. They just shot up a car where a woman was abducted by her boyfriend. As tragic as that is, in order to save her, they killed her. Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of like the Tennessee situation. The guy was mimicking Martin Luther King Jr.'s voice, which was kind of weird, to be honest. And then when you hear him talk in his regular voice, he kind of sounds like Obama, which is kind of weird, to be honest. Massive LGBT propaganda that I'm seeing being posted from this guy, which is fine, but it just says to me that they are not fighting for Black Americans in the state of Tennessee. They're fighting for white people. They're running a white agenda. They are wholly controlled and performing for their white constituents, and they're just basically puppets at this point, as far as I can tell. I don't see anything that would say they have a Black agenda at all for the people in Tennessee, for Black Americans in Tennessee. They are dangerous. And, you know, we kind of got to figure these two people out before we jump behind them and try to support them. But thankfully, I have a really good timeline on Twitter where people quickly identify problems. So shout out to everybody that's really identified that. The California Reparations Task Force, we did have Miss Camilla in our space after that last hearing, and she did say that they did accept as the minimum number 800 billion in the recommendation, based on the 5 economists that did this calculation. This report is saying that the California Reparations Task Force okays the method to calculate lost wealth. That number is, the minimum number is 800 billion, and it could go up from there. And that was confirmed by Ms. Camilla Moore. So hopefully, as this one space I was in where the host was talking about making sure you have candidates who are running in California as reparationists so that they can actually vote when these bills come up to vote. So for anybody who's in California, please try to advocate and find candidates that can win elections. So when this particular legislation comes up, that you do have votes to help get it passed. That's extremely important. The space was very educational, but again, if we keep playing politics, we're going to keep playing politics. If we keep trying to game the system, we're going to keep trying to finesse and game the system for eternity. But we're running out of time with that. Like, that's not going to work 30, 40, 50 years from now. It's just not going to work. The numbers are not going to be in our favor anymore very quickly. So everything we've done up until this point is going to become less and less and less effective. Literally every single day that goes on, it's just going to become less and less and less effective. So we got to do something that's radically different to produce a radically different result.
Agreed.
Hey, Black. Yeah. Hey, Black. Yeah. I have about 5 to 10 minutes. So,
okay.
Hey, DJ, you don't mind taking my place? Unless you're busy.
Nah, no. Go ahead. Whenever you're ready to drop down here, bro.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I started to glance through the book, but I got to get back to it too, man. Just the index alone is very interesting. You know what I mean?
Right.
For sure, and you know, in the foreword, for sure. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Thanks for your time, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for your points, because you definitely are a strategist like the black man to your left.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna try to dig into that book myself. And you know, maybe we can have a space that's really focused on, you know, some key points of the book that'll kind of help people you know, not only digest the book but also understand, you know, how you came up with the idea and what the strategy entails and everything like that. So absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll bring DG up whenever you decide to drop down, and just have a safe week. Have a good week out there.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, Black Homeland. Have a good one, bro.
All right. Actually, no, it's 2:27 p.m. here in Southeast Asia, and I'm just ready to take the family out to eat. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody, and we'll try to do this next week.
Hey, when I come out to the Philippines, I want to go to what's the best seafood restaurant out there, bro?
This all you can eat lobster place.
I'm pulling up. You send me the address.
All you can eat
lobster. I mean, that place is crazy good, man.
Just make sure you get your D-bombs. Just make sure you get your D-bombs while you're in there, too. And stay away from the salmon. Try to preserve your life as much as you can.
Heavy metals.
Oh, you said the salmon?
Yeah, that's salmon. Man, a lot of people don't like that salmon. I call it salmon.
Okay, salmon.
Yeah, salmon is worse than the
tuna.
No, tuna is actually one of the safest fishes you can eat. Maybe whiting. Salmon, the way that they kill it is very toxic. If anybody knows anything about salmon, they are from at least like 3 feet and bigger. So when they catch these salmon, they got video. You catch it on YouTube, or even if you, I hate to use Google but some things you can utilize Google for, and you can, there's a brother that has a video about a process of how they kill salmon. They suffocate it. And when they suffocate salmon, you know, just like any other creature or creepy crawling thing or human, you know, you have a brain and a digestive system and a brain, you know, all those things going on. So when you kill a fish or animal, if you kill it the wrong way, which that doesn't even make sense to me, but if you kill it the wrong way, you can taint the blood. Well, with the salmon, when you suffocate the salmon and they go through that suffocation and all of the processes that they go through before they die, when you eat it, you're ingesting that same mental thing that they went through. You're eating it, and it actually fucks with your memory a little bit. I tell anybody, do a test. If you eat some salmon at night, right? Try to remember in detail what you were talking about in this space, and you might have a little trouble doing it. So salmon is not really safe. Tuna, any meat that they heat over 100 degrees to process or cook or anything like that, had the amino acids become very toxic. They become cancerous. You know what I'm saying? So this is why meat is not good to eat. Because you damn sure can't eat it raw because it decomposes. The proteins that meat have in it only have the low traces of protein that it have in it because of the grass that the animal eats. So see, all of your proteins and all of your lead levels and all that shit comes from your greens, your beans, your onions, your mushrooms, your berries, and your seeds. That's what I call G-bombs. Not me, the Minister of Wellness made that acronym up. Actually, it was brilliant. But yeah, your G-bombs. See, what we eat is our medicine. We're not supposed to eat for something that tastes good and shit like that. All that shit didn't come around about until the 1900s when they really started putting spices and shit in food and shit like that to make it taste better. A little bit earlier than that. But, you know, our ancestors knew that our food is our medicine. So the nastiest shit is the most healthiest shit for you. So the darker the greens, the better. For men, spinach, spring mix, lettuce. For women, kale. Yes, men and women are supposed to eat different shit. They're not supposed to eat the same thing because we are biologically different. They bring life into the world. You know what I'm saying? We just squirt it. So it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely are not supposed to eat the same shit. And meat is definitely not supposed to be consumed by us. Although, when raised the right way, we're still only supposed to eat certain types of meat according to your birth month. But see, that's a whole different, that's a whole deeper conversation.
Well, I'm a fish, man. I'm a Pisces. That's what I'm saying. Well, how we get here, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get some life, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm Aquaman.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's a good point you brought up, DJ. You're a Pisces, so you're not supposed to eat catfish, bro, just like me. You know what I'm saying? Catfish is one of your sacred animals of your birth month. And if you happen to eat catfish, God bless that. If you happen to eat, check this out. Right, this is real important, though, DJ. This is real important. And I want everybody in the space to listen to this. If you eat catfish, be done in a month of what we know as November or, like Pisces, you know what I'm saying, certain other months. If you eat catfish and say catfish is a sacred animal of your birth month, guess what it does to your birth line? I mean your bloodline. It taints your bloodline. It puts a murder on your bloodline. This is what they took from us. This is what white supremacy took from us. And in the place of it, they gave us a Gregorian calendar to tell us about fucking President's Day or Columbus Day or fucking nothing that we need to know to preserve our life. You feel me? Whole time, DJ eating catfish, right? And say I'm eating beef. We go, our bloodline's fucked up. So another point that they kept from us is your bloodline is everything spiritually about you is directly connected to your health. So if your spirit ain't right, your health ain't right. You know what I'm saying? So if you're eating animals that you're not supposed to be killing, your bloodline ain't right. So it's going to immediately show through your health that you're going to do what you think is right and go to a white supremacist hospital where they know what the fuck is wrong with you. They know you're not supposed to be eating beef because you was born in November. Cattle is a sacred animal in your birth month. So you ain't supposed to be eating that shit. But instead of the doctor telling you that, the motherfucker
motherfucker gonna say, hey, let me cut on you. Let me give you some chemo. Oh yeah, you got cancer. And it's too late. That's why I beg everybody, pay attention to race correction. And if you never heard of the term, look it up. Race correction. Okay? They got medical warfare practicing on us every aspect of fucking life. Down from the water we drink, we can't even shit in the toilet without getting poisoned. You know what I'm saying? But the strength of knowing about it is preserving your life. And that's what we all here for. We here to preserve life as much as we can, make this earth and this universe better than what it was before we slipped through our mother's coochie. You know what I'm saying? Before we die. You know what I'm saying? And then our examples will be left with our offspring. And guess what they'll do if we're doing the right thing? They'll mimic what the fuck we're doing, and they'll teach it to their children. And then they'll teach it to their children. Because guess what? When you come back in this motherfucker, and you don't have to believe it, you can trust this. When you come back here into your bloodline, you know what I'm saying? You're going to come back as one of your children's children. And if they ain't right, because you only teach their mothers and their mothers and their mothers and their mothers, right? then yeah, you're going to be in a fucked up situation, more fucked up than we are now.
Hey, Black, no, I got to tell you, I eat salmon like crazy. I remember the past 10 years, I eat salmon for breakfast almost 3, 4, 5 times a week. So, but I haven't been eating it lately. But check this out.
And too much of anything is bad for you, Black American.
Yeah, 2021, a doctor told me that I might be coming down with dementia because I'm almost 57, right? And my wife, she noticed that I'll forget my keys, or sometimes I'll forget where I park my car. So yeah, but in fact, you mentioned salmon. That's really interesting. I used to eat a lot of tuna and salmon.
I'm gonna tell you something. You probably got a lot of mercury in your body, Black American, right?
Yeah, DJ, you're absolutely right. A lot of mercury, and not even just mercury, but I'm gonna tell you something that will help you out. What area, if you don't mind me asking, what area are you in reading?
I live in the Philippines, in Southeast Asia.
Oh, Philippines. All right, that's something good about the Philippines. You got access to purple cauliflower, orange cauliflower. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying this just because of what you said. You've been going heavy on the salmon, and from what you said, it seems like it's taking its toll. So the things that can help you is broccoli, cauliflower, any color cauliflower will help you. Blueberries, any antioxidants, they're brain foods. You know what I'm saying? But definitely broccoli, cauliflower,
cinnamon. I told you the cinnamon, Black American.
Cinnamon, if you can stand cinnamon in your salad, I like it in my salad. A lot of people can't get with it, but and if you yearning for something sweet, bro, use fruit. You know what I'm saying? Use fruit. Fruit has the good sugar, okay? Your doctors will tell you, you can't eat that because it's just too high in sugar. The only thing they're high in is acid, okay? And all that will do is maybe give you a rash if you eat too many oils. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, we gotta stay 10 toes down on eating our fruits with seeds.
Do me a favor.
Not the seedless bullshit. The seedless bullshit is made with water retention cells, and what it does is it makes your body hold more water than it's supposed to, and that creates a whole nother generation of problems that you wouldn't believe. Too much water can cause so much shit. You'll be like, God damn, just from having too much water in your body? Yes. You know what I'm saying? If you're not releasing your toxins well, that shit can cause cancer. That shit can cause heart attacks, strokes, and this is if you're not sweating
good enough. If you're not shitting every day, and I know that might be a little forward. I'm sorry, bro. I don't really have to filter sometimes, but look, you're supposed to crap every day, okay? At least 2-3 times a day. I almost do it 4 times a day. You know what I'm saying? But we got to start being open with this shit because, look, medical warfare and medical apartheid is being practiced on us every fucking day. All right? So half of the shit, 95% of what's in the market is not food. This is why we supposed to be growing our shit. I live in a townhouse. I don't own this shit, but guess what? I got a garden in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 chickens out there, and we about to get 2 more. You know what I'm saying? Stop depending on these fucking markets. They're death traps. And look, this shit is hard to do. Right? Easy for me to sit up here and tell this shit to y'all. It was hard for me to take my son out of public school. You know what I'm saying? It was hard for me to homeschool him. You know what I'm saying? I got 1,000,001 things to do every day as anybody in this app that know me. You know what I'm saying? And I always struggle to get all of them done. And you know what? I fail every day. And I'm honest with myself because I can give a fuck about feeling good. I can't feel good if the hood ain't good.
2 to 3 minute fucking delay. It's
I'm
weird.
gonna make that fucking t-shirt. I can't feel good if the hood ain't good.
Hey, this is my last question, then I gotta go. What do you think of mangosteen? Because my wife, she's really big on that, and I eat that almost 4 or 5 times a week. Mangosteen, usually like 5 or 6 of them per day.
It's good for your wife, but not good for you. It's good for your wife, but it's not good for you. Mango is a woman's fruit. You know what I'm saying? It has qualities that strengthen their fucking womb. You know what I'm saying?
How about mangosteen? Because mangosteen supposed to be different from mango. Mangosteen.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely 100% right. But it's still, remember when I said the female and the male is supposed to eat different shit? You know what I'm saying? It's still in the female. It's still in the female family. What you will want to do is, for us males is we want to stick to superfruits. You feel what I'm saying? Superfruits and brain food. You know what I'm saying? Because see, the brain foods and shit helps with our logic shit. I think if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, so don't hold me to this. I think mango helps with females. Also helps with their hormones to balance their hormones. That's why I say it's not good for this. I'm not saying it's not good for us. I'm just saying it's not a thing that's going to benefit us as well as it benefits women.
Okay.
Hey, guys. If you find on anything else, let me know, please.
I appreciate it.
You gotta study it more or less for yourself, bro. That's what it really falls down to. So, like, your one element is you always saying you forgetful, right? Okay, go research all the plants and the herbs and the fruits and the vegetables that have brain boosting ailment, enzymes in it. You feel what I'm saying? So once you figure that shit out, and it really is just like, slight research of the internet, okay, this, that, and the third, and you'll keep seeing the same repetitive answers for the most part. Build a smoothie recipe or herbal drink recipe around that. Start getting into the spices and the teas, bro. I'm telling you, man, it's health benefits out here that'll help you with that. Other thing is, too, in order to really get your memory jolted again, you're going to have to start doing other things outside of the norm. Well, usually what I tell people, you can do 1 or 2 things. One, if you already feel like you're kind of on an athletic tip, buy a PlayStation. But if you've been sitting at home all day playing PlayStation, not doing anything else, you got to get outside more, bro. Got to get some sun. You feel what I'm saying? Shit like that. Make sure you're taking vitamin D. The other thing is, too, vitamins in general, supplements, a.k.a. that's pretty much what they're called, supplements. To supplement natural vitamins that you should be eating already. You feel what I'm saying? Kale, a lot of green vegetables, bro, every day. You know what I'm saying? Other thing is, too, being that, you know, you living in a different part of the world, could be the way the vegetables and the things are cooked out there too. You might have to get some, you might have to start cooking your own food more, bro, versus going out to eat all the time. You feel me? Because, you know, when you go out to eat, there ain't nothing but fast food, a lot of sodium and all that other shit. You know what I mean?
Especially tri-sodium. And you want to stay away from cooking your vegetables, y'all. Because even when you steam your vegetables, you steaming the nutrients out of it. You're cooking the nutrients out of it. So the more you cook your vegetables, the more they jump. Okay, it's best to eat them shits raw. If your teeth game a little fucked up, I know my teeth game a little fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But I still try to eat at least a 3-pound salad a day. It's hard to do. Sometimes I'm successful. Most of the time I'm not. But I'm telling you, just try it. If you're not used to it, try it. Start with once a week. But you gotta get your deep arms in. The darker the greens, the more better they are for you. And just try to stay on that spring mix or that spinach is real good for men. The kale though, I love kale. Oh, another green that's good for men, mustard greens. Mustard greens is absolutely best for men. Collard is good too. But women, oh my gosh, y'all get on that kale. And I ain't talking about cooking up with no motherfucking hand hocks or nothing like that. I'm talking about put that shit in the salad with some strawberries. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself fresh to help you so you don't have to douche and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Your insides fresh. You know what I'm saying? Them strawberries and the blueberries. You do that strawberry blueberry mix once a month. You be smelling yourself a whole different way. Real talk.
Right. Hey, I just knocked back a smoothie that I dumped a little bit too much cinnamon in because I actually taste the shit. But I feel like I got a brain boost right now. You know what I'm saying? Keep it real, yo. You know what I mean?
All right. Hey, I appreciate everybody. I got to go. This is Black American Homeland. And I'll see you guys next week at the same time. Sure. Thank you.
Hey, when you go out to eat, tell them to make you a smoothie, man, with some cinnamon in it. There you go, bro. Drink that on the empty stomach and then eat your food. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I appreciate it. I'm going to an Italian restaurant. I love Italian food.
Oh, yeah, that's what's up. Tell them to make you a sherbet with real fruit in it. And there you go. This is the same thing. Just a little ice creamish, that's all. Throw a little salad on top. You know what I mean? I do Italian too. You know what I mean? Ciao. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, I appreciate it, guys. I'm going in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, man. Professor. DJ. Bye.
No doubt. Peace. One love.
Yo.
You guys can pick me out like a troll, but that is some of the funniest shit I've ever heard. I jumped in. I have no context. Chow on the Italian food was fucking hilarious. So sorry if I interrupted, but you got 10 stars out of 5, dude. That was so funny.
Who the fudge is that talking?
I think it's that dude who just came up. Hey, what is that right there? Who that just came up?
You know, I was Real Mad Max.
Real Mad Max. Raven, what's up, man? What's going on tonight?
Hey, I'm sorry I had to jump in, but like I fucked around with a whole bunch of spaces and I jumped in and then like chowing on the Italian food. Fucking hilarious. Like on so many levels, that's funny as fuck. And I had to yell about it. So
no doubt. Yeah. So what's up with you tonight, Mad Max? You creeping around in different rooms, man. So what's your
like? I'm like alive, bro. I'm already on the other side of this space before it happens, like a fucking sonic boom. Like if anyone's got a question, I can answer it, but I don't want to overwhelm the room. And I'm sorry that I did on this one, but the chow on the Italian food was funny as fuck. Like think about that, sit it down, type it in your ChatGPT. Chow on the Italian food was funny as fuck. And I gotta give him credit where it's due.
Can you make a space, sir?
I'm glad I can make you register. Shit.
These people crazy.
That make you really sick, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
No, you got me on that one, man.
So yeah, we do got a question for you since you're the white homie in the room. You know any white supremacists?
Any white supremacy?
White supremacy.
Don't start it
Do I know any white supremacists? Yes, I know people that feel supreme because they were born white. I know people that feel supreme because they were born all sorts of different colors. I actually appreciate when people admire their own culture.
Can we get their emails and their addresses? Can you tell us
It's just like a make fun of
we gotta answer that on record. It's allegedly. You know, you can hit us in the DM though. You know, we understand.
It's just a make fun of Max thing, like ask him a question and then like make fun of him like he doesn't actually care about the question.
Blackface, you know, we invented comedy. You do know that, right? So you know.
And I also know that legally speaking, colored means to be set aside from reality. And we're all quantum here because we know our sovereignty. And yeah, Masa Musa didn't fucking wreck the economy. I know we sailed across Brazil ships. You think I don't know what I'm talking about?
We're not color people, though. Who the color people? We black,
colored.
We Negro. We Negro. You know what that means?
Negus, like we were kings. Negus, N-E-G-U-S, like Slavs. Like Slav was a king, like slaves. Like the N word is just a derogatory word, just like slave was, because Negroes came from like Nazis when we were kings.
Negro land is real, Mr. Mike.
That's just Waddle.
Negro land is real, Mr. Mike. We the 12 tribes. The Negroes over here in the West is the 12 tribes of Israel.
I completely agree. So where did Quetzalcoatl come from? Where did Masa Musa's predecessor flow through and land in Brazil? I studied this shit. You're talking to me like I don't know.
Max, I'm going to ask you a question. I need you to stay focused. Okay? We asked you if you know any white supremacists. You said yes. Can you please give us a list? Yes or no? That's it. No extra, just yes or no.
And don't even say yeah, no. Just, message my brother Moko right here. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to get you in trouble. You know your voice ain't being, disguised and all that shit. You know what I mean?
No, that's completely fine. I'm not disguised. This is my only account. If you want to call me, I can tell you people that I know that really support their culture from that direction. But there's not like a list of people that are out to get you. Like that's the shit. That's where slavery comes from. That's why we forgot our history. That's why we don't understand the 400-year curse. Like, I don't know the big-headed scientists. Like, we didn't invent this shit on purpose in order to teach the ones. It's so dumb that just because my tone of voice is wrong, like I don't know my fucking history. Like I don't know Kemet. Like I don't know where the queen sits. This shit's bullshit. No, it's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
I know you know, Max. I know you know.
No, it's fucking bullshit. No, my voice sounds white, so I don't know it, right? That's not quite right? So who's that white supremacist that knows it, right? Even though I know who my queen is, and you still want to tell me? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
What you drinking on tonight, Max? What you drinking and smoking on, yo? Because
Courage of the Bear. I don't.
Mute your mic, brother. I need for you to stay focused, right? Because when you go off topic, I feel like you're practicing white supremacy when you do that. All right? I asked you for a yes or no answer, and you went
on. No, I cannot provide a list.
Max, focus, buddy, focus. Okay? Because I know you know a lot of shit. That's why we're asking you questions, okay? Because we are the most confused about racism, white supremacy. Not you. You've been taught this shit since you were 5. So we need some answers, but we need Max to stay focused, okay?
So then I hear you? Can I give you just like a little bit of like backstory, just a tiny bit? It sounds dumb. My name's Michael Clifton.
Hey, Mocha, hold me down real quick. I'll be right back.
Please, a little bit. Like my first best friend's dad was raised by two foster moms.
Stay focused, buddy. Stay focused.
I'm trying.
Stay focused.
Okay, what was the question? I'm trying.
All right. Now, you said you could provide me with some information if I call you, right? So what I need you to do is I need you to leave your phone number. In my
503.
Okay. No, focus, Max. Focus. You don't follow directions. What do you, Max? Focus, buddy. Focus. I don't
want me to direct message it to you?
Exactly, buddy. Exactly.
Yeah, just the DM it to
brother Marco. Is that who I'm supposed to submit? My bad. No, yeah, phonetics. Yeah, I'm tracking.
Thank you. And just leave me your number, and I will give you a
call. I'll post it in the chat. You don't have the little thing.
No. Focus, Max. Focus.
You don't have an envelope.
Focus.
You don't have an envelope.
I know. But check this out, Max. Now what I need you to do is I need you to politely leave the room. And I'll get in touch with you later, okay, buddy? Thank you. Respectively.
Thanks for keeping me focused and how it worked. Like I put my number in the bubble. I appreciate the direct feedback. Thank you.
Now back to what I was saying before we were really interrupted. That was crazy. I think we was talking about the fruit and the bad sugar, but the darker the grains, the better. And damn, I hate when they come in there and go songs like that.
Oh, that shit is crazy. Bro, that shit is crazy. That shit is fucking crazy. Oh man,
he threw us all, man, because I forgot what we was talking about. We were talking something about, was it kale? We were talking about kale, right?
Well, we was talking about food with Black American Homeland, as far as his memory and trying to help him jog it up a little bit better, start remembering the shit more. But like I said with that, and jokers do dirty walk, you know what I'm saying? And so with that being said,
I remember what I was about to say. Because he cut me so off. I was about to say, damn, did this dude just come and stuff about the burn? That is codification. But then he came in and started talking shit. That's what it was. I just wanted to point out, though, DJ, if everybody noticed when DJ asked him that question, and that was on point, DJ, I'm glad you remembered that. The first thing, do anybody notice the white supremacist nigga dogs? Do anybody notice what he did? Do anybody notice the first thing he did?
First he was the pause, then he was like, no, wait a primitive motherfucker, Marco, you know what I'm saying?
What he did first, DJ, the first thing he did was he laughed. Oh, yeah, see, I'm going to tell you something. This is something that I noticed about all white people, and I don't care where they from. When I ask them that question, the first thing they do is laugh. And I take that I'm very suspicious of that because when I ask that question, that's not a joke. And I've never asked that question with a laughing voice. I ask that shit with a straight fucking face. And if I'm in front of the white person, I stare them right in their fucking face when I ask them, do you know any motherfucking white supremacists? And do you mind supplying me with a list? Because I need some help. And when a motherfucker laughs, I know right there and there
He probably practiced white supremacy himself. When they start getting off topic, that is an act of racism, white supremacy. Why am I telling y'all this? Because it's time for us to start calling that shit out and being A1 on that shit. Like, look, nah, I see how you practicing white supremacy. What do you mean I'm practicing white supremacy, though? You already know what you're doing. When we get amongst our people, we tell them how they doing that shit. That's why I like the cows. That's why I like that program so much. This Best T Renegade, he always point out how white people are using and practicing racism, white supremacy. They don't just use it as a blanket statement. You know what I'm saying? This is why racism, white supremacy makes so much sense to me as far as white people being in that position, that supreme position. When you can make motherfuckers, when you can make words not have a meaning, that's when words get dangerous. Because when somebody beating you in the fucking head, don't stop it no more. Stop don't mean nothing. I want y'all to remember that. These words are very important. We gotta be laser beam focused with this shit.
All facts. All facts. Okay. Oh yeah. What's good? Yeah, just making sure shit. I'm over here cleaning up shit. Hey.
Oh, I thought you was about to drop a newscast and shit. So I wanted to ask you,
I have to do that too. No, I am in the studio.
I really wanted to ask Professor Black and Johnny Truth from Trouble, because y'all was in the room. I was like, when I tried to let y'all hear the news, did y'all understand the race correction clip?
Play it again.
Well, I'm not in a position to put it right now. I was just asking.
Oh yeah.
Sexist to me, bro.
Yeah, I understood it, and but yeah, I think we should play it again for this space too.
Okay, I'm about to hit you with it. Give me a second.
Shout out to Sister No Taxation up in the house.
Hey, boys. You know what I'm saying? Reparations2023.com.
Yeah, we got Sister Val right there.
Hey, boys. How you doing?
Maybe Sister sitting up in the house that she is. We know Trouble up in the house.
How you doing?
We got Sister Tata right there that she is.
Hey, Miss Vargas with
And all the people up in the space tonight. Good to see everybody up in here.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let's go over here. Put that down there. And let's go over here and see what's the line.
All right, DJ, I just hit you with it in your DM, right? Now, the program, I think the time marker, I think it was around the way the newscast was up. You know, he'll play the news, the song clips in between each news joint. So the one that come before the race correction is Francis Press Welfare. So I think it's like the third or fourth one. And I think that's like either the 25 or 30 minute, marker. But you gotta listen to it before you. But when you hear Francis Press Welfare speaking, that's
Woo!
Nature has developed a lot of natural defenses. Taken from a little bug like me, I've pretty much seen them all. Porcupine's got quills.
What's the timeline you said on it?
I believe it's at the either 23-minute mark or between the 23 and 30-minute mark. They had Francis Wellington speaking right before.
Me, I'm here supporting.
This must be something else.
No, that's it. That's it.
They said the cows compensatory calling.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's out of voice though.
Remember, it's news, bro. It's news.
Right. No, I understand. I just want to make sure I ain't being trolled and shit. Know what I mean? So you said around the 22 mark, 22 minutes?
Okay, everybody, it's 3 a.m. Again, I can't tell how many people are in the space. I can't see. Let me see if I do this. So I can at least shout out the people in the room.
Give me a second.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like I'm the only one left in here based on this. I don't know. But shout out to everybody for coming. Appreciate you. I'm saying good night. It's 3 a.m. We'll see you next Saturday. We're on social live, soxcial.com from 9 to 11. Then we switch over to YouTube 11 till around this time. Kind of the end is pretty flexible, but we are definitely going to end. We'll see you next Saturday. Thanks for coming out. If you get a chance to follow on Twitter, follow on social, and definitely if you're not already following the YouTube, follow YouTube. Appreciate you. Start planning to participate in the Black migration, specifically the state of Delaware and the state of Mississippi. That is where we can become rulers by majority vote, so that we can actually control the economy of the state to protect, prosper, and empower our future generations. Peace.
Or recognizing what certain numbers mean, and they doing equations that they shouldn't even be doing to measure